everybody, welcome back to Terps Esports, live from College Park. My name is Lily.
And my name is Bree. Tonight, the Terps GC team is taking on Champlain College. Let's make sure we show the Terps GC lots of support in the chat tonight.
Tonight's game will be a best of 3, meaning the first team to achieve 2 map wins will also win the series. In tonight's pre-show, we'll introduce you to the team as well as take a look at their stats. And we'll even get a chance to speak with the team's initiator, Trace.
Before we jump into the game, let's start with the rules of your typical Valorant match. If you've never played the game before, Valorant is an objective-based FPS game where teams of 5 players compete in 2 12-round cycles against each other. The main objective of the game is to plant the spike, defend the spike, manage economies, and create strategic plans to dominate each round.
And tonight, like Bree mentioned, the Terps are going up against Champlain College, and this is actually an NECC playoff game, so the stakes have never been higher than they are here in the semifinals. Winning the series would send the Terps to the grand finals for their NECC division, so make sure to watch till the very end and show the Terps lots of support in the chat tonight.
Now, it's time for us to introduce you to the members of the team. We are also going to be taking a look at their stats as well as describing their specific roles.
Starting off strong, we have the team's duelist, Savani. Her job as a duelist is to take space for the rest of her team by winning those early round fights that are going to impact the outcome of the round later on. She's got an ACS of 209, an ADR of 137, and a KD of 1.0. She is absolutely insane on Jet, especially when she has an operator in hand.
Next on the roster is the team's flex player, Davy Jones. She has the ability to pick nearly any agent depending on the team's current composition. This gives the team tremendous versatility. She's got an ACS of 227, which is the highest of her team, an ADR of 147, and a KD of 1.2.
Up next, we have Carrots as the team's controller. And as a controller, Carrots' main job is to secure sites on the attack while holding down the fort on defense. Where and when she decides to place her smokes will heavily influence the outcome of each round. She's coming in with an ACS of 205, an ADR of 135, and a KD of 1.1. Although controller has been a new role for Carrots this season, she seems really comfortable in this position, both in terms of her aim, but also in terms of her utility usage.
Now let's talk about Soap. She is the team's sentinel, meaning she is the group's defensive expert. Her role is to keep an eye on the other team's movement and use her utility to make the team aware of any flanks. She's got an ACS of 192, an ADR of 128, and a KD of 1.0.
And now our last player is going to be Trace, and she is a very important part to this roster, so let's take a closer look at her stats.
As an initiator, the team is relying on Trace to use her utility in order to make fights more favorable. She also plays an important role in gathering information for the rest of the team to work off of. Last time we were in the studio with the GC Premier team, she had an amazing game, so I'm super excited to see what she's able to do tonight. She's coming in with an ACS of 187, an ADR of 121, and a KD of 1.2. Now let's welcome Trace here into our studio. Hey Trace!
Hi!
It's great to see that you're back in the studio. Considering that this is the playoffs, how are we feeling about tonight's game, considering that Grand Finals is right around the corner?
I think we have a really good chance of winning today because we have played the team that we're going to play today before in our placement matches, and we did win. So I have a good feeling that today will be a good game.
Exciting! Is there any new strats and new team comps, considering you guys have already played against this team before?
We are still working with the whole map pool, but we are working on a map like Fractured, and that was our Insta-ban all season, but I don't think we're playing Fractured today. So that's just things that we've been working on.
Gotcha. And before I close things off, I have one last question. If you were to wear a Valorant agent's clothes for the rest of your life, whose would it be?
Wait, that's such a good question. I've never actually thought about that, but I like Sage's clothes a lot.
I personally think Gecko's the most drippiest. I don't know.
I agree.
Gecko for sure. Okay. Well, thank you again, Trace, for coming on and being able to do an interview with me tonight. Everybody, you can stay tuned right while we go into a commercial break.
I'm Greg, also known as Sin, and I'm an initiator player for the Valorant Premier team.
I'm Kazu, and I go by NJV, and I'm the coach for the team.
I'm Richard, and I go by Pickle Richard, and I'm the duelist player.
Pretty fun. I definitely liked all the guys I was playing with. It's fun to get in the server with them. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge balancing it with other things, but
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I enjoy doing a lot.
Yeah, making like all the friends that we made through this team, so it really makes me happy. So it's like really awesome that we did this.
Yeah, I think I had really fun times on this team. I played well every single game.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment was map 5. I think that was a really fun match.
The
Yeah.
grand finals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
was
grand
fun.
final. Yeah.
Remember what map it was?
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was Sunset. Yeah,
Sunset.
Yeah.
And you played Rays.
Yeah, I played Rays.
Yeah, no, that map was really intense. Like, it was super, super hard. The pressure was definitely on. Like, it was super late at night. It was like midnight or
It
something.
was very late. It was really late.
1 a.m. or
Like my favorite one was probably the first match of the season.
Oh yeah.
First time in the studio together.
Oh,
That
in the
was
studio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It
That
was
was
like
fun.
fun seeing all the Academy boys in the studio. So that was sick. Yeah.
My personal goal is I think I'm gonna try to hit Radiant this season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. It's,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely to win Big Ten right now, and then place top 8 in CVAL. That's our goal.
Top 8 CVAL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Ten is definitely the thing I'm most interested in seeing.
Mhm.
I'm not flying out, but hopefully, or the boys do well over
Hopefully
it.
we win.
Where is it?
I-
OSU? Ohio
Yeah,
State?
in Ohio.
Ohio.
I promise at least second place.
At least
At least
second place? I think we can win it.
I think we can win it too.
I think we can.
We gotta
win
be
Big Ten.
humble.
Everyone, yeah, we can't get complacent.
Can't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
complacent. Never that.
That's a good one.
Go ahead.
Honestly, like unironically, I think Kazu is a very fun person to have in the program as like an emotional leader. Even though he doesn't always sometimes things can get a little disorganized with Kazu at the helm.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
for as much flack as we give him for being terrible at the game, he's actually
Yeah, if you watch our
He's
games
actually a very
while
good
I
coach.
play, you'll be surprised. Like, I hear House, this guy might coach a lot.
Yeah.
Like a weird amount of time.
but I think Kazu's a great addition for him. I love that.
Yeah, I love
He's
him.
great.
You love Valorant.
He's very wholesome.
He is very awesome.
Wholesome.
Yeah.
He's radiant. Remember that.
I'm ready to remember that.
Yeah, and his timeouts have improved a lot too. As someone who's seen him coach over the last like 2.5 years.
Yeah, I
Your
coached him
old
for a while.
timeouts were
Yeah, that was when I was
great.
a little baby boy coach.
Yeah, but
Baby
now
coach.
he's improved a lot.
Yeah.
I really like having him as a coach.
Thank you, Gregory. Wow, this is great. You should do this more often.
That's the most praise you've ever heard.
He got an ego boost for free today.
That was awesome.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are about to head into map number 1, which will be Lotus.
I feel like Lotus has been played a lot by GC so far, but I mean, I think it's going to be a good turnout. I'm excited. This is kind of like the last stretch almost, you know? I mean, I think it'll be a great time.
Yeah, I mean, the stakes are super high. If they lose this game, we're in the playoffs, so there's no more season if they lose this game. They got to keep on winning for that to get to that grand finals match, which will be in their future if they do come out with a win in this best of 3 tonight. And like Trace mentioned, they have played against Champlain before, but they did win that match. It was during the like kind of the round robin tournament that is typically takes up the first NECC match, where it's a best of one, but against 3 different schools, and they did win that best of one. But best of one, not super, doesn't tell us much. It's not super descriptive. So we'll have to see what Champlain brings to the table tonight.
Yeah, considering we do have to do 2 rounds, win 2 maps actually. I mean, their Lotus play seems to be pretty well off, at least from what I've seen when I'm in the studio. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, defense and attack, I still think that we are pretty good at doing retake and holding down sites pretty well. I mean, I just excited to see how Champlain goes on with this, you know?
Yeah, Lotus has been a very comfortable map for this GC team. We've seen them pick it without fail almost every time that they've been in the studio. So that should tell you about their confidence going into map number 1, which I'm guessing is their map pick for map number 1. But that means that they did not get to pick sides, and I know that they do sometimes tend to struggle. I believe it was on the defensive side that UMD really had problems with last time they were in the studio. So that is really going to be the key to this map number 1, is, you know, who's going to really, you know, hold down the defense, because I feel like the attack for the UMD is so strong because partly of Savani and what she's able to like bring to the attack.
Yeah, I mean, even with starting off as defending side, I know that it does start off a little rough for the first few rounds, you know, pistol round and then over on to buy round. But I mean, they slowly start to pick up their pace, start to figuring out what works for them and what doesn't work, whether or not to play retake or whether or not to win their fights. But at least like Savani's been trying to win most of her fights, and I believe she did for that Lotus map, if I do say so myself. I don't quite remember, but I think it'll be a pretty strong game for today.
Yeah, comfort pick for map, and you know, this is exactly how you want to start off a series that is such high stakes. Again, they have to win this series to keep their postseason hopes alive. They're, I believe, just like one of our only Valorant teams that has made it to the semifinals. I think the only Valorant team we have at UMD playing in the NECC that has made it to the semifinals, that like who we stream in studio. So, you know, with kind of the weight on all the Valorant teams is riding on GC Premier to represent UMD in the NECC playoffs.
I do kind of want to go back to the question I asked Trace earlier. That was from you. Thank you, Lily, for giving me that idea. What about you? What would you wear? Like, whose agent outfit would you wear for the rest of your life? I mean,
I'm gonna have to say Killjoy.
Oh, she's so drippy.
Because
like
she is drippy, but I feel like also I could get away with like wearing that without it being too like, oh my god, what is she wearing?
Puffer. I think it's just the yellow puffer that can be a little over the top in a way. Yeah. But I mean, I think it works. I mean, do you think like her little nades are also like an accessory?
Yes.
Along with the outfit?
Yes. I'll just place a turret. Like, it's no one's business.
A little watch? Okay.
Who would you pick if you had to pick an outfit?
I did say Gecko earlier, but now that I'm thinking about it, like Jet seems very like, she's very like Japanese like tech wear kind of thing. Like a lot of like, I know she's Korean, but like a lot of her influence in her outfit is kind of like the street kind of wear-ish, especially with her pants, all those pockets that she has on. Yeah, Jet or Gecko. I mean, like,
yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I feel like it wouldn't grant her abilities though, because a lot of her abilities aren't necessarily attached to her, other than her like ult. But if I could just watch this like out of nowhere.
I think Gecko's cool. However, I would not want that lime green buzz cut on my head.
Okay, well, Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean core. I feel like, yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to rock a green buzz cut. I mean, does KJ have long hair? Technically, like, basically kind of like your hair. I just feel like I wouldn't rock the beanie per se.
That's true.
I don't have the head shape for a beanie, so no buzz cut, no beanie, but the Jet little bun.
Yeah.
Cute. I would go for that.
Yeah, well, we could discuss fashion all day in Valorant, but we are here to discuss strategy. And speaking of strategy, here we are into Agent Select, where a lot of the strategies will be revealed. Champlain opting for the Clove pick and Raze as the duelist. Raze, pretty typical pick here on Lotus, but the Clove is what's really might throw the Terps for a loop.
I think this Teo pick is also really good on Champlain's side. I mean, I remember one time Terps GC was in the studio. There was a Teo on their on the other team during their Lotus map, and that Teo was actually doing pretty well. So I'm wondering if they're ready to combat against Teo's util here. They have double duelists on Champlain, with the Jet being hovered and a Raze pick already locked in. I mean, with double duelists, I feel like it's a lot of versatility. I feel like those fights are going to be very intense, very straightforward, I guess you could say, especially with their entries. But I honestly think Savani is able to hold that down just as Raze alone.
Yeah, for the side of the Terps, the composition is looking very ordinary. We're going with our comfort picks here. Davy Jones on that breach, want to highlight that off the bat because that breach is such a good initiator on this map. But also, we do have a Cypher for the side of Champlain, which I bet you is going to be set up C-site every single time, especially starting on the defense. Champlain's going to be on the defense, so the Terps are going to have to figure out how to work around that Cypher utility if they want to hit C-site immediately. They got to figure that out.
I mean, I think this is going to be a good setup here. Again, to highlight Davy Jones's breach, I mean, she had amazing plays the last time they've been on Lotus, and I'm honestly like 100% for these comfort picks. Like, I mean, why change it up like last second? This seems to be going pretty well. I mean, I don't know, that Clove versus the Omen when it comes to smokes, I'm a little like nervous. You know, Clove is so versatile as a character. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here.
All right, so Champlain going to be starting off on the defense, like I just mentioned. So the Terps are going to have to, you know, set the tone here on the attack. They have a good opportunity, which means, like, you know, they can kind of set the pace as to however they want to. They can, you know, just go as slow, as fast, as, you know, mischievous as they plan on these site executes. But, you know, how are they going to work around some of that Sentinel utility is going to be the question. Looks like they're going to start this one out favoring the B site.
Yeah, with the turret watching A site, you know, mostly when people go on Lotus, they automatically push for A, but looks like most of it's going to be towards B with a little bit of down holding C site. They're just waiting for some noise here. This Raze is about to throw in her nade. As they slowly peek, the nade gets thrown, but not quite enough noise was made yet, but Terps are retracting, but oh my goodness, the Teo gets 2 picks on Savani and Soap, with the Raze helping right behind with that fade kill there.
Yeah, the Tejo ultimate did deliver the deadly blow to those Terps who were already pretty low HP because of the Raze nade. Now Davy Jones gonna have to swing in order to fight for that spike that the Terps no longer have control of. Oh, Champlain just hiding in the Clove smoke, which they don't last too long, so that's gonna dissipate any second now, and then Davy Jones gonna be met in a 1v2 holding that angle.
Here we have a 2v5 going on here. Carrots is over there hanging out and see as Davy Jones is trying to get control of that spike. Gets a pick on their Clove. Automatically throws in that util. Carrots is trying to open his door here to hopefully distract the Cypher on that C site. Davy Jones gets a hold of the spike and kills that Cypher there for our Omen here. They're still pretty low. Davy Jones is pretty low here, and we're trying to bait out and see who is holding what on Champlain's side.
Yeah, great work from Davy Jones. Carrots, though, does get killed as she's caught trying to rotate over to help out Davy Jones, who only has 13 seconds left to plant this bomb. She's bought herself enough space on this map in order to get bombed down, but she is going to have to fight with only 26 HP on this site. Gets the first pick and is hunting for more, but with the double swing, it's going to be too difficult for Davy Jones. But although that round did not look good for the Terps initially, they were able to fight in the later stages of that round.
I really think it was just the Raze nade that really got to them. I mean, pushing B like that is it's a little tight, and with the Raze nade, it can most definitely push you guys back. And the way they just swung out, getting the Terps off guard that way wasn't a great way to start off the round per se. But I mean, it's looking pretty okay so far. It's too early to tell anything here, but now we know that the champion's a little bit more, I guess you could say, a little more aggressive. The Cypher cam was crazy here on Champlain's side on A site. We're switching it up from C to A. I've actually never seen that Cypher cam before. That's really cheeky. I think that's a really good idea, though, I will say.
Yeah, will the Terps be able to find where that is and shoot it in time? They're going to have to, use their utility to their best ability. But Carrots using that classic to her best ability finds an early pick off of Mound. Terps going to take some more space right off of that pick and flood into Seaside. Davy Jones, the Deagle Demon, gets hers. And it's going to be the Clove that taking out all those smokes along with it. Terps have site control comfortably. But is Champlain going to be aware of this flank that Soap is cooking up? They have bigger problems to worry about as Savani peeks out into Waterfall, gets 2 picks in the same exact spot. There's only one player left. It is the Cypher for Champlain. I think the Terps are very aware of their position based off of that nade. Savani holding down that angle, not going to, give the Cypher any peeks that don't need to be given. Wait for the Cypher to swing and has a Bulldog in hand, so... Hopefully with that has the gun advantage. Gonna try to use Trace's right click though to finish it off for the Terps to give them the thrifty.
What a great round there for the Terps. I mean, honestly, I'm so glad that Cypher ended up switching sites on the A site. Oh my goodness. That C site entry was just absolutely amazing. And Savani popped off over there. You have Davy Jones also being 4-1 at the moment here on our leaderboard. I mean, I think we really needed that round. I mean, it's looking really good so far. And I think they're starting to pick up a little bit on how Champlain is playing just a little bit. But we'll see how the rest of it will go.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really important round to win. You kind of always expect to lose that second round if you already lost the pistol because it's typical that the team that won is going to buy up, which Champlain did. However, UMD was able to get those early picks, Carrots with that classic, Davy Jones with the Sheriff, and that is really what made the difference on the C side. They're able to pick up those weapons that Champlain dropped and use them against them.
I think it was pretty unfortunate for that Jet there, peeking down on C side, trying to get a pick off of the Turks, but I mean, we ended up getting a free Marshall from that.
This goes here.
Yeah, exactly. We picked up the guns that they dropped and just used them to our advantage, and that's what pulled off the thrifty. Huge stop for the Terps in round number 2. Now they're gonna hold on to most of those weapons that they had in the previous round into a bonus this coming round.
I really want to get to see how Champlain's gonna start reading the Terps here. Do you think the Cyphers maybe gonna sit down in C, or maybe sit back down in A, or switch it up even go to B? I mean, with those, after seeing that camera placement there on A site, I mean, it's kind of hard to say where else those, clearly the Cypher has great lineups here. I mean, how else is that gonna get through for the Terps? I mean, Savani here on Rays could just get caught randomly here on these great Cypher trips, and who knows how this entry is going to end up going for them.
Yeah, it's interesting because on Cypher, you can there's 2 ways of thinking. One way is I'm going to set up one site every single time and they'll never come to this site and I only have 2 sites to worry about. Or I'm going to switch it up, hoping that,
every time.
They're going to get unlucky, run into the site I'm holding. Keep in mind, Lotus, 3 sites. So the odds are less likely of picking the right site. Or, I guess there's a third option. You could place, half utility on one site, half the other. I think the most common setup for that is B and C. So you kind of sit Waterfall and still have access to a whole lot of utility. But it looked like the Cypher, from what we've seen so far, is going for the method where you're switching up sites every time.
Yeah. Most definitely helped them out. At least it helped in terms of advantage, but unfortunately not too much for Champlain here. I mean, we didn't get to see much KJ action too much from our side. I mean, how else is this gonna go for the Terps? I'm really excited.
Yeah, one thing that could be really deadly for Champlain is our KJ Lyric, who Soap is playing beautifully. We've seen her pull off some really just sneaky lurks, really sneaky flanks a couple of times already when they've been in the studio in the past. So that's something that, like you said, Champlain hasn't gotten a taste for yet because, they haven't had to use, or that last round they didn't have to use Soap's lurk, but, that could be an issue later on for Champlain.
Yeah, and with Davy Jones back on Breach again, I mean, I remember the last time that they were on Lotus, it was mainly Davy Jones supplementing to Savani, especially with those entries, especially as a Raze being so versatile in movement, just satcheling on the site, using all your nades, and then also getting that support back by Davy Jones playing Breach, maybe just stunning an area, can catch the enemy team off guard, and hopefully that'll help them, most definitely help them out. We do have a save round here for for Champlain, I mean, they did lose that last round. They do have to get their money back up. And then, yeah, they're using the last guns that Champlain had dropped that last round as well.
Yeah, if the Terps come away with a win in this round, that is going to just carry their economy for the next couple rounds to come. Looks like they want to set up their attack, defaulting for now. They have everyone positioned just on the border of every side. Carrots has a really sneaky off angle if a Champlain defender so chooses to push into Carrots through that smoke. Meanwhile, the Terps just throwing down some utility on this A site. The Cypher is set up on A. Carrots does take advantage of that positioning on C mound there. Does capitalize with a kill off of that Outlaw. Meanwhile, the rest of our team scaling up here on this A site slowly but surely. They don't know if there's Cypher trips here yet. But with Davy Jones finding 2 picks, that is going to certainly sway the tide in the Terps' favor. Now Savani faced in a 1v1 with the Cypher, who only has 1 HP. It looks like gonna throw an 8. That might be enough to do it. No, Cypher's gonna run away. Savani peeks anyway and takes down the last defender on this site. Now, all that's left to worry about is this Clove for Champlain, who is working up the flank here, but hopefully numbers just gonna, you know, completely overwhelm the Clove, and that's exactly what happens as Davy Jones finds her 3rd for the round.
What a great round for the Terps over there. I mean, honestly, that fight against Carrots and that Jet was a little scary. I mean, the Clove had a one-way going on over there to supplement that Jet, but Carrots with that Outlaw just completely destroyed that Jet there on Champlain's side. And Savani was automatically out for blood, holding down that A site upon entry. I mean, we were able to get rid of that Cypher setup quickly, and, you know, before we knew it, we were able to get that Cypher before finding out that there was even a camera all the way up there in that spot. The Cypher's starting to set up here in C, with Carrots also going back to C side. It looks like we're more favorable to pushing towards C.
Yeah, man, we've pushed where the Cypher has set up like almost every round, but it doesn't seem to matter as Davy Jones gonna invest that Breach ultimate to push the Cypher off site, and it works beautifully. They've managed to break those trips and get great positioning on the bomb site. Now they just have to work on their post plan. They have smokes in order, thanks to Carrots, to buy themselves a little bit more time to position themselves for this influx of players that they know is about to happen from Waterfall. Raze throws the nade, tries to double swing with triple swing actually with Teo and Jet. It works out beautifully, taking down Carrots, but Savani has other plans, so does Soap. But trades go back and forth down to a 2v2 on this bomb site here. Davy Jones forced to swing thanks to that Raze nade, but Trace is the one who's right behind her who capitalizes and finds that pick. 1 player left up top, Davy Jones able to you know, clean it up at the end there. Beautiful post plan for the Terps.
Oh, what an amazing round yet again. You know, Champlain was starting to drop like flies right when we started taking into that site again. With Davy Jones using the stun, it really helped Savani get into that site and catch a lot of these players off guard. You know, I mean, with Trace using her dog to figure out if people are still hiding through Waterfall. They in fact were, with that smoke, and that Raze was also just sitting there just hanging out, and just ultimately amazing post plant and just amazing cleanup on the C site here.
Now the Terps have their idle weapons in hand, although it doesn't matter. Savani gets taken down instantly with a Sheriff. That is an important player out of the equation so early. Carrots try to reverse the damages that have been done. So is Davy Jones. Oh no, Davy Jones looked away from that corner too quickly. Gets taken down by the Sheriff. Still, the rest of our team is trying to fight for the entry point onto this A site. They have a smoke to work around here, but it looks like the defense is, you know, not playing aggressively anymore. Champlain is taking a breather.
Champlain's starting to slowly close down and just figure out where the Terps are going to move up into next. I mean, their Jet is just barely 1 HP there with their Raze and Cypher. Raze with ult, and Cypher starting to hold down A site. I mean, Carrots starting to look through the flank, putting a we had our KJ put in an alarm bot there just to make sure those flanks are watched carefully. But as the Raze and Jet are slowly walking up to door there, not quite sure if the Terps are going to be throwing that dog, and now we have that information that at least 1 person is there. Their Jet is heading farther. Wow, we get a trade off from Soap onto their Raze.
30 seconds left.
Knowing that the Cypher is there just about to peek. Trace is trying to get that kill, but Jet is still very low. This is still very winnable here for the Terps.
And Soap denying that Ray's ultimate, huge. It did cost her life, but it could have cost much more. Trace gonna use that Fade ultimate to clear off this site, but look at Carrot's positioning. It's beautiful, and she finds the Jet, making this a much more favorable fight for the Terps. All they have to worry about is dugout. And I'm not sure if they know that that's where the Cypher is. Looks like Carrot's going to use her ultimate to even make this round go more favorable for the Terps in theory. But Trace in a 1v1 doesn't matter, regardless of what Carrot's ultimate was doing. But the Terps have gained themselves a bit of a lead, and now they're able to purchase their Vandals again.
Davy Jones over there was 9-2 on our leaderboard. Absolutely insane. I mean, it's starting to pick up. I mean, again, it was too early to tell. Even though we may have lost pistol round, it does look like we do have a timeout on Champlain's side here. I mean, they're probably strategizing what more there is to do here, how to combat the Terps. Again, this is still winnable for anybody, but so far, like, everybody is just simply popping off here. I mean, I don't know what more Champlain could do on their end. I mean, they're also doing really well, especially with their Cypher. Big applause to their Cypher, holding down, like, actually having good trips for sight and having good camera angles. But what can they do to actually make sure that the Terps get cut off from entering sight to begin with?
Yeah, I think they need to use their Teho utility more. It really worked out for them in the first round, but since then, I haven't really noticed them positioning that Teho utility in ways that it's really worked for them or done much damage to the Terps. So that is something I think Champlain definitely has more room to work with, is, because that utility, it takes so much HP.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Let alone that ultimate that Champlain has charged up that they could use this round, given it's their buy round especially.
I feel like, oh, actually, no, this is a great buy. I feel like they could combat if their Cloak does end up getting that pick here. I mean, they're over here ready to push onto the Terps here. We have 3 of our Terps just hanging out here, waiting for more action, waiting for more sounds and util to come by. They're getting cut off by that clove smoke, but it just finally dissipated. But it's just it's a waiting game here. It's anybody's game. Whoever piece can either get picked off, or Terps can just rush in and get both of Champlain over here.
Yeah, looks like Champlain has some inkling that the Terps are positioned onto A side, although they haven't made much noise. Savani gonna be the first one to peek off of that Carrot's utility, and it's gonna net an assist for Carrots and a kill for Savani. Savani does get traded. The rest of her team trying to flood in and utilize the space that she's created. Carrots finding 2 amazing picks and hunting for a third. Only 2 HP left to work with. Gonna let Davy Jones take care of the rest, but she still is gunning for this Champlain defense. Has 3 kills to her name, and likely a round win with that.
I just blinked and all of Champlain just went straight down. We do have the Cypher left over yet again for this round with a full HP going on. Just spots the turret, isn't quite sure. Well, it's pretty obvious where all of UMD is hiding here, but does this Cypher know that there are mollies here upon tap, or trying to put up that cage to protect themselves from getting sprayed? Tries to get a pick, and so finishes off getting the Cypher to finish off that round for us.
Yeah, what a beautiful round from Carrots. Finding 2 picks, just using her incredible aim, and then having 2 HP, backing off, saying, okay, I'm gonna let my team handle it, and then coming back and finding a third, in that kind of bloodbath that was going on near Breakable. But oh my goodness, the Terps, especially coming out of that timeout that Champlain took, having that be a buy round for Champlain, huge round win.
It looks like we're just going through these rounds, 10, 7, 5, 4, and 3 on our leaderboard. I mean, Champlain's doing a little bit of a safe buy. I'm assuming that this Jet is going to go ahead and pop all after getting this orb. They're starting to push in with these the Raze bot, trying to get at least somebody here on our Terp side, but they're starting to retreat back all the way to C. Champlain Cypher is just hanging out there in C yet again. I'm hoping the Terps are going to be able to respect that.
So much aggression from this Jet. They do find a pick, but Trace is there to help out her teammates. Hunting for a third, though, does get killed eventually while the rest of her team scaling up onto the C-Site with the help of Savani's utility. They're going to hunt down that Cypher to clear out CT, but Carrots and Savani being really aggressive in CT. Bomb is planted, so, you know, they just have to play a post plant here where they do hear door switch, so that's going to draw a lot of attention towards this C main entry point. Yeah, they're holding a high-low here. Both of the Champlain players positioned there, but the raised satchel makes it really difficult. No, Savani does not hit that ultimate, so she's got to use her gun, but it's not a problem for her if, you know, she has insane aim anyways.
What a great strat there by the Terps, playing high and low. I mean, again, I just blinked and all of Champlain was basically almost gone for the beginning of the round. I mean, I think that the Jet was really trying to get as much picks as they can, but Trace just ended up getting two, just hang out in our CT over there, and it just ended up working well. I think the Terps and the studio here are just flying straight through these rounds. I mean, is there much to talk about strat-wise anymore? I mean, with what we have going on, 1-6, we're up 5 at the moment. Is there anything different to do here?
Nope, no notes for the Terps so far. As Soap starting this round off well, finding 2 picks, looking down B long, and is going to be happy with those 2 and back up a little bit. Man, what great aim from Soap. Oh no, an Outlaw though takes out Carrots right outside of C mound. All that smoke. All those smokes not going to be usable for the Terps anymore, although they're still going to have to be more aggressive on this post plant than I think that they would have liked to have been. And we're going to see that with Savani pushing up into heaven here, using her Roomba as the rest of her team works on planting that spike.
We have the Cypher slowly following right behind, trying to get into our flank here, but either way, they're both expected to be where they are. So far, the Terps are holding down sight incredibly. I mean, Savani already knows that Clove is creeping up there on their CT, and she's ready to get this pick. Clove automatically gets the pick, but that's going to be coming from Trace. Trace needs to go in that eye to see if there's more sound to be made, but as that Cypher opens the door, we do win that round with that kill. Yeah, what a crazy round.
Yeah, what a round for Soap there. Just every player stepping up in different rounds when they need to. Obviously, Davy Jones, I think, is still leading in kills, but it really just feels like each player is stepping up when they need to. And each round we're seeing, you know, a different player kind of be the MVP for the Terps for that particular round. And it's great. That's exactly, you know, what you want to see, especially here in a playoff game. Now you have, what, a 6-round lead?
Oh, yeah, I do want to talk about Savani going through tree and Davy Jones just supplementing with that stun and automatically getting that kill on sight for her. As she was satcheling midair, I saw her turn right around trying to get that kill, but Davy Jones was right there just to help her out. And with that, I mean, they're great working together when it comes to entrying. Again, like, Breach is such an amazing pick for this map, and it really works in our favor here.
And we might be in a timeout. I believe Champlain just took a timeout. So, yes. So we are in a timeout yet again. So, you know, giving Coach Dusty more opportunity to talk to his team and just, you know, highlight what's going well, tell him to keep doing that because clearly something's working out here. Mm-hmm. You know, we still really have yet to see Champlain use a lot of their Teo utility. And they... Or, you know, I feel like their Jet even, they could get more usage out of than they are doing. And it's just because the Terps are finding these picks so early on.
Here goes Champlain being a little aggressive here, trying to get as much picks as they can off the Terps, but the Terps back away incredibly fast, pushing on to C. Savani here ready to get some blood out onto her hands. The Cypher is set up here on C again, but I'm sure she expects where these picks are going to be located. We have an ult here by Trace.
Yeah, and the Teo used their ultimates. So many ultimates invested into a very expensive round. Starts off on a good foot for Champlain, and Teo's trying to hold down the fort, but Savani there to find the pick on the Teo, but not before getting traded. So the rest of our team able to, find some space on this site. Soap's going to try and throw down that KJ ultimate to try and even buy them a little bit more time and space here. It works out beautifully for Soap so far. They did spot the Jet's positioning, so they know to watch Waterfall right off the bat. That is important as Davy Jones swings out into CT. Doesn't like what she saw. Too many people there. So she's going to focus her efforts maybe onto Waterfall instead, but just be more passively hold CT. She's getting swung from all different angles. Soap is there to help her out though. Bomb is ticking. Only Soap is alive. Finds 3 amazing picks. She's on the brink of a 4K and a round win if she could find this last kill. Now the Cypher only at half HP is just ring around the rose around these boxes. Swinger gets swung. Soap is gonna swing and find that pick to put her at a 4K. What a round for her.
Soap was so locked in on that face cam there. I would have been so locked in too. But I was honestly holding my breath that entire round. What a crazy round. One wrong swing and everything could have gone wrong. And if with Cypher and the other teammate being on CT on Champlain's side got a pick on one of our Terps, it could have gone much different. We have Davy Jones here 11-4 and Soap they're just holding hands, hanging out on the top here. Soap's been doing really well, just holding down B site. This Jet does tend to peek out B site, and Soap usually just gets those picks early on for the Terps. They're doing the same movement here, setup here for Champlain with the Jet, with the Clove, Tail, and Raze again throwing their util. The Terps do retreat back into C site. Savani gets that kill on that Cypher, meaning that there's no more util here hanging out on this site to worry about.
Yeah, some fake Teho utility being thrown on East site does not really confuse the Terps too much as they rotate really quickly on to C, and Salty Soap takes this fight up into B. The work finally paying off for her, but the Terps have bigger issues to worry about, and that is happening at Waterfall. Finally, Carrot's gonna put a stop to that Waterfall rampage thanks to a wall bang, and now all they have to worry about is CT. They're gonna play a little bit of passively. Only Trace is pushed up here. She swings into 2 of them and almost finds both of those picks, and it will be Davy Jones to help her out to increase the Terps lead here.
What a beautiful team ace over here. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Again, Soap really has B site. That is her site, is always getting almost guaranteed kills on B site, even just by holding down, hiding right behind her turret, waiting for movement to be caught by that turret. I mean, I don't know what else Champlain can do here. I mean, they are a little bit on an awkward-ish buy here. They don't have too much money going on here. I feel like they need to really keep that Cypher alive to make sure that the util can be utilized to its best ability. We have their Jet jump peeking on Trace here, as they know that this one person here thinks of Trace's dog.
Bit of a default from the Terps. The first time we've really seen this since the really early stages of map number 1. So will Champlain be expecting this? I'm not sure. The Terps not being super aggressive off of their default, which I do like. They're just trying to, listen in for some information before Savani looks like she's going to be the first one to maybe take a fight here onto A, with the rest of her team just slowly walking, being as quiet as possible to join her. But this Teo definitely has some inkling. He's just watching, right outside of Breakable, waiting for Davy Jones or Savani to peek through. Looks like it will be the latter, but Savani not going to quite find that pick yet. Instead, she's going to focus her efforts into Tree. She's met with the Raze nade, though, does get killed. This Raze is on a rampage in Tree right now, taking down 2 Terps. Savani, though, speaks from the grave, finding a kill with that Roomba, but the Terps do not have bomb control yet.
The Terps do find out that the Cypher is holding down sight thanks to Trace's eye. Trace gets a pick there on top of Rope, but unfortunately that Cypher does end up trading out from Champlain. Davy Jones is met with the Cypher, hopefully winning this fight, but unfortunately does not. We have Soap slowly creeping up here, trying to be sneaky as much as they could, but unfortunately runs into their Clove.
Champlain winning a round for the first time in a while. And it was when the Terps tried to switch it up. They tried to do a default. And I wonder if now Coach Dusty's saying, no, just don't even worry about it. If it's ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been going really well for us before we, tried to pull off that default. And while they did lose that round by a small margin, it was just, and the Terps are taking a timeout this time, probably just to talk about what they could have improved in that default for the future, maybe how they could have worked on that site execute. However, things are still looking really bright here for the Terps. No space to panic at all yet.
Not just quite. Yeah, I mean, it didn't really look like that worked out well for them. I was kind of surprised that the Terps did decide to default. You know, I think Champlain was kind of, maybe Champlain knows that how to figure out how a default works, especially when it comes to play. You know, with pushing onto site and whatnot. But I think it was just a little unfortunate for Savani to get picked off that way with an ult in tree. We got 2 of our Terps that got picked off by that raise on Champlain's side on tree. I mean, I think our best bet is just take him by surprise and just full push as much as we can and just play aggro every time we go on to a site here.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be what has worked for them historically, with the exception of just having a lurk also in the works. But yeah, just like overwhelming a site has seemed to work really well for them. I wonder if they're going to go back to that strategy this time. Particularly on C, they've had a lot of success. They've never ended B this map so far, so they're really neglecting that site. So maybe that may be in the cards soon. Although this is the last round that they're going to have to deal with on attack. So, you know, there's not much they can do from here on out.
Yeah.
But they're looking at almost defaulting again, being kind of passive again.
I mean, they're starting to do the plays that they did a little bit in the beginning of the game. I mean, this Raze, Teo, and Jet combo has been a universal thing that they've been doing since the beginning of the game here. Hanging out on A site, trying to throw in as much util as they can. The Teo's trying to get as much info, but catches a glimpse of Soap there. Soap is starting to back up into her turret as the rest of the Terps are starting to push onto C site, where the Cypher is residing yet again and is waiting for as much information as the Cypher can. But after hearing that ult orb getting grabbed, Savani goes in with just a plethora of ults here. We have Trace throwing in that ult. Savani's actually at the site and using all of her util, is slowly creeping up onto the Cypher here. Hopefully she gets that pick as it's tethered by the Trace ult here.
And the C site is what the Terps have done best. Will they be able to pull it off for another round? They do lose spike control. It's down on the site. Trades going through back and forth. Terps don't have control of site yet. Trades does find a pick on that cloak, but is not going to be able to take down the Teho. And suddenly, C site for the first time in a long time, not looking good for the Terps. Carrot's going to use that Omen ultimate just to grab Spike, plant it on this A site, and just wait for this retake to come into effect.
Yeah, it's going to seem like they're going to start holding CT and their flank. We have this Teo slowly creeping up through B, right behind where this Cypher is going to be pushing up with them. I mean, or actually no, Teo's going to go here through CT. I'm not quite sure if the Terps know who's going to be where, but wow, Carrot gets a pick on that Teho instead. It is a 2v2 here. This is anybody's game right now, but they still, Champlain still has to defuse that bomb here.
One enemy
Carrot
remaining.
gets an amazing kill there on that Raze,
Oh,
and another
wow.
one on the Cypher. Another 4K
Oh,
here.
wow. Carrots is just on a different level with that aim. Oh, my goodness. What a way to close out the attack half for the Terps. Yeah, let's take another look at this. Oh, my goodness. Just textbook aim from
Too
Carrots.
clean, too clean.
Yeah, but now the Terps going to be on the defense. So we're going to have to see how they, you know, are able to really hold down the fort. They only have to do so for 3 consecutive rounds to take home map number 1.
I mean, we're pretty even across the board here. 13, 12, 12, 10, and 10. Not too much for Champlain over there. They've yet to hit double digits with their kills, but who knows? Maybe this attack is their side. I mean, again, with the double duelist, that Raze and Jet could be doing a really insane entry right before we know it, even if we have Soap hanging out there on C-site with her util.
A lot of utility placed early on Mound here. A lot of pressure onto the C site, presumably where Soap's KJ utility is set up. The nade does break a lot of that KJ utility. Smart play from Champlain there. But it's this Omen smoke that's really going to slow them down. They're almost waiting for it to dissipate before they try and take this site. But Carrots may have another one just to even further slow down this push.
There's a sound game here. I mean, we're jump spot. Carrot's trying to jump spot here, but that Raze on Champlain's side knows that Carrots is just hanging out there. We have the Cypher and the Jet trying to slowly push up B. Again, where Davy Jones is hanging out from. I mean, one stun, and once that turret looks right at Champlain, it could be game over as this Jet slowly tries to peek out, hopefully not getting caught by that turret. She spots the turret, automatically gets a stun here by Davy Jones, but still, we're waiting for some noise here. We're just hanging out in front of these entryways as Champlain's starting to push in there onto C-site, but with 30 seconds left, they haven't made it in quite yet. They start pushing in, that jet goes in, gets hit on Carrots here. We're gonna start and clear out a little bit of waterfall, and that Cypher throws in that camera for extra measures here. They know that Soap is hanging out here with 2 trying to peek out into waterfall.
Soap trying to be the classic demon, does get a headshot or 2, gonna do a lot of damage to the HP, but the job is not done for the Terps. Davy Jones and Trace, though, getting things started on this retake. Trace just wreaking havoc up near CT there. Now the Terps are on the defuse, and they're just gonna have to keep it ticking that way, and the Terps pull off an insane pistol retake to assert their dominance here on the defense.
What a crazy right click from Soap. Oh my goodness, when I right click, that never happens to me at all. But clearly we are just a bunch of classic and ghost demons here on the Terps GC Premier team. I mean, what a beautiful round. 2-11 here. Is there anything that we can do here for Champlain to see what they have in their sleeve, trying to get at least into a site here? I mean, we're holding it down like it's nothing.
Yeah, now we're going to have a more favorable buy. That's certainly going to help this next round, although B-site has been neglected so far this series. So are the Terps really going to be expecting a B hit? It's going to be Soap's turret that's going to sound the alarm bells, but it's too late as Champlain just found their way deep into the site. But Soap holding down her ground there with a Spectre in hand. It's going to make things a little bit easier, but now that the bomb is planted, they've got to work out another retake. And if it's anything like we saw the previous round, hopefully it's going to go well. Savani taking so much space onto the site already. Champlain being really passive, playing off sites. It doesn't work out though, as Carrots is expecting it, and Savani's just sitting on the defuse.
Oh my goodness. Real gamers stick. I mean, I don't think this is the first time we've seen Terps GC just stick a defuse here. I mean, what an easy round. We're already 2-12, just one more round for the Terps, and we move on to the next map. And then after that, hopefully we will go onto finals. But wow, what a round. I mean, B-site just getting cleared out like that by Terps, even though Champlain was able to get in. Crazy.
Yeah, just a super dominant performance so far from the Terps. Even when they transitioned to the defense, like you said, they've done the work on the attack. Now they're super comfortable. They have so much confidence. They just need one more round. Savani gonna jump and try and peek at some heads there. I think she spotted a few. Gonna, give her permission to peek up thanks to Trace's Fade Dog, but she's gonna really hold this corner super, super tightly, is waiting for a push to come her way. Looks like she might get it thanks to this Jet who pushed out, and Savani doesn't get a pick there yet, but eventually she does, but she does get traded later on, and there's no more defenders on this A site. So the rest of the Terps gonna flood in for the reinforcements as Davy Jones finds a lurk pick there and is trying to make this flank work out, but Champlain really delayed because they did not pick up Spike after their teammates died there. So it's actually kind of a delayed plant that we're gonna give the Terps even more time to really regroup and get in position for this retake that could win them map number 1.
Terps are starting to slowly go in. Now that Spike is planted, I'm hoping Soap knows that somebody is just waiting to get at least a headshot there at that ankle. If she starts to move a little bit closer, we have Carrots trying to throw in that smoke, and this Raze is just holding right. But Carrots thankfully gets that kill on their Raze. We do have good numbers. It's 2v1. It's just this Clove left trying to bait out plant, or trying to bait out defuse, and wow, amazing play here by the Terps.
And just what a beautiful way to start off the semi-finals match for the Terps. They, won it in such a decisive manner. And as you can see, it's all smiles, all giggles in Studio C. And that is exactly the vibes you have to carry with you if you want a chance into the grand finals. So they're going to have to fight for it in map number 2. So make sure you guys tune back in after a quick commercial break and catch us for the second map.
My name is Subin Kim. My in-game name is Carrots, and I'm the controller of this team.
My name is Hannah. My IGN is Tuxedo Sam, and I play Sentinel for the team.
My name is Sima. My in-game name is Care Bear, and I'm a flex.
My name is Megan. My IGN is Giraffe, and I'm an initiator.
My name is Sophia. My IGN is Soap, and I'm an initiator.
Hi everyone, I'm Ayush. My in-game name is Dusty Exo, and I'm the coach.
For me, I think it was just really interesting to see like our names on like social media and like on a website. I'm just like, whoa, my name is on a website but so I think that was like the number one thing that kind of like just it brought the realization of like what kind of team I'm in, like what kind of position I'm in.
Meeting them. It's like hard to make a woman and non-binary friends in Valorant, so it's just really nice that we have like a team specifically for that.
The studio.
Yeah.
Oh, the studio.
The
Oh,
studio.
I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know that existed until like remember like when we first talked about the studio, I was like, what's that? When I first went to the room, I was like, oh, there's cameras and lighting. I'm just like, that's
Nice computer.
Nice computer.
The monitors
So
are crazy.
true.
Winning.
Yeah.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
W winning.
Getting into that.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I feel like
was pretty cool.
hey. I would say supportive is definitely like Dusty and Rachel. Those two. Just like making sure we had scrims down, making sure we had practice schedules down, like Dusty making sure like to pick out what we did wrong, just like, helping us improve. I think definitely.
Yeah, Dusty's a very present coach, so
Very.
it's like he's really reliable and helped us through the whole season.
Thanks, team.
Yeah, he'd even like schedule things for us,
Like organize all the schedules.
help us map bands and like talk to
Stats,
them
yeah.
if like realize if one of them was like unranked or something. Breaking
Forfeit
a rule.
teams.
Making teams forfeit.
Maybe we don't talk about that last part.
I would also say like our fans in chat, like on
Oh,
stream.
true.
Also, it was nice knowing
W
people
chat.
watching us.
And the haters.
Oh yeah.
Improve in the higher division.
Yeah, it is definitely more challenging because we're in a higher division now. But I think we could with our coordination, I definitely think we could. We need to bring home another one of these.
It feels great.
You
Yeah.
guys know this is the first title that Terps Esports has won.
Wait, seriously?
And by women.
Oh, seriously? Oh,
First down.
cool.
I like playing Valorant.
Have an excuse to play games.
True, that's true. That's good.
For me, I joined because, I've always wanted to be on a women's team, especially since I got to UMD, and me and Dusty had always tried to make teams work every semester, and this was the first time it actually did work and stuck, and the people who tried out were committed. So I guess I've always just wanted to be on a women's team to connect more to that community.
To make friends.
So I had that gap, without a team for a while, and then I saw the form, and I was like, I really want to try this. This sounds fun. And then, yeah, I play Valorant too much. First of all, I did not imagine me being IGL when I first started, because I am, outside of my Lilac team, I am known as the no brain, only aim chamber in comp. So I did not imagine myself being IGL. But I think it's there were some difficulties in the beginning because no one I wasn't used to giving out comms. I was just very confused. But I think now it's just the amount of trust that my teammates give me when I give out comms and the amount of coordination that we have. I just love being IGLing because I trust that things will work out.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to be heading into map number 2, which is going to be Haven. And if, we're hoping for anything for map number 2, it's that it looks exactly like map number 1.
Exactly. I mean, considering it's, again, another 3 sites, it shouldn't be any different there from Lotus. So far, we have a pretty good team comp here going. We have Soap over here on Cypher, already locked in, hovering over another breach pick by Davy Jones, which I hopefully chooses it. I know Savani is just crazy insane on Jet, and Trace and Carrot just hanging out on Sova and Omen is an amazing pick here. We have Champlain going back onto their double duelist play here with a Reyna and then hovering over a Jet. I mean, now that they have a entry blind, I'm wondering if that's gonna go pretty well for them, considering there's no more raise for movement. Yeah, I'm kind of excited in a way to see if how this Sova play. I mean, a Sova v Sova against one another is insane, but I just know Trace can hold it down.
And I do want to point out we have a Reyna for Champlain. That is going to be definitely a curveball for the Terps, considering Reyna is not an agent that is super heavily picked these days. But regardless, we've seen some insane Reyna plays, so you certainly cannot count out that Reyna pick. And, if you're new to Valorant, basically Reyna, the thing with her is if she's only a valuable agent if the person who's playing her is getting like 2 kills around. You know, you have to be netting a lot of kills in order to like use her utility in the first place. So that is why Reyna can be pretty hit or miss. So we'll have to see which one it is for Champlain heading into map number 2.
Yeah, and considering that I think they basically buffed Reyna's ult now that it doesn't last, it lasts the whole round, and you can just keep going and getting kills and just taking all the health and whatnot. I mean, Reyna is an insane, duelist to play here.
All right, the Terps going to be starting this one off on the attack. They're sitting back a little bit, just kind of waiting, to regroup. It looks like this is going to end up being a garage hit thanks to Soap's information. Using that camera, Savani's going to take space off of that information that the cam bought them, but they get caught in a nade. That's going to completely foil this plan of this garage push. Instead, they're going to have to rely on Trace here to make some noise into long and draw some of the attention that way. Meanwhile, they have to fight for this flank that's already cooked up for Champlain, and now the Terps are in a bit of a pinch and they've got to come up with a new game plan quickly.
As Davy Jones already throws in that stun, hopefully that they get this pick off of this Reyna, and it looks like Savani's out for blood, but unfortunately the Reyna does get that pick on Savani, but we're still trying to push down a long here. Carrot thankfully avenges Savani, getting that pick on that Reyna, starting to place down all of her smokes to get ready to push onto site, with the Sova Dart getting ready to know who's where and where's what. We get a pick off of Soap, and then Davy Jones thankfully trading that for us, but then Davy Jones also gets picked down. Wow.
Yeah, and it ends up being a round loss for the Terps. Just absolute chaos towards the end of that round on A site. And, we've seen Carrots and Davy Jones be classic demons back on Lotus, and they got their kills, but still, it's just, during this round, it's a bit more of a toss-up of, whether the fights go your way or not.
I mean, this happened last map too. We didn't quite win that first round, and, Champlain was able to just clear us out like that. But, I mean, this is a new map, and again, with the 3 different sites going on here, and different setups with this KJ and their Cypher pick, I mean, we should be okay. Hopefully we are going to be able to just easily win this round here. With Savani just watching over there in the sewers, but Davy Jones gets that crazy deagle kill on to their Reyna. Savani slowly starting to push up, picks up that Guardian that Reyna had, trying to push up onto A site, but their Clove is trying to get in those one-way smokes here.
And Carrot's pushing up, making herself known outside of mid here, but she's doing so very quietly and almost had really good timing on this KJ who just turned their back with an outlaw in hand. But Carrot has bought her team good positioning up into mid. I think they do know that there is a KJ setup placed in garage, so the decision right now that the Terps are faced with is, just work through that KJ utility, shoot it as fast as you can, and flood into C. That's pretty much undefended right now, or hit B site, which is harder to maintain on the post plant, arguably.
Savani's already going out for blood here, ready to get this KJ. I don't think this KJ is quite ready for Savani to swing here. He's holding out Savani, but unfortunately that outlaw takes out Savani. But we do have that plant going down, but this KJ is still just holding on to garage with all of her life. Carrot's about to encounter 3 people here. Hopefully she doesn't. Unfortunately does get picked off by that jet. What a scary situation we had going on there. The Terps are trying to defend as much as they can down over there on grass, and that Sova gets a pick on our Trace, unfortunately, and another pick gets onto Davy Jones.
And the Terps are trying to fight. It does not work out, though. The fight's not going in their favor with the gun differential that, they did not have an advantage on there. So while they're able to get the bomb planted, they're not able to win that round. And, now they've got to be thinking, okay, this doesn't happen. Last time we were able to come back and, win that thrifty in round number 2, which really set us up for the rest. But how are they going to be able to pull off map number 3 with mostly a full buy now?
I mean, you gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta be cool as a cucumber here. I mean, you gotta, after that win, I mean, I'm sure we have a lot of adrenaline going on in the studio at the moment, but now that things are starting to slow down just a little bit, being down 2 rounds, we gotta start strategizing just a little bit to see how Champlain's gonna start playing off here on this defensive side, especially on a map like Haven here. Savani's slowly pushing up A long.
Yeah, and it's more or less the same kind of game plan we saw the last round, but they're defaulting more spread out than they were previously, and kind of invest or just selling, you know, all these different sites a lot more because they're pushing up further. And, you know, I think Champlain even did get a visual of Savani there. So that is going to draw in a full-scale rotate, favoring this C site. I do like the potential of them hitting C long here. They haven't really tried that yet. Just a 4 or 5 person push C long, and that's not where most of the KG utility is centered. Savani's going to find that out shortly as she dashes her way back into this site and is watching CT as she found herself in a relatively undefended site. Terps able to get bombed down, no problem. Now they're watching this retake. Savani catches a glimpse of that Jet who was in garage there as the smoke dissipates, but the rest of the reinforcements are going to flood in from CT, and the Terps are just hiding behind this box, but they're getting wallbanged, and the HP is dwindling. They're going to have to act fast as Soap is there on the flank as well, and Trace, Davy Jones all doing their part on to site's going to give the Terps their first round win.
I just blinked and we just won the round. Basically, wow. I mean, it was pretty unfortunate for Champlain to be backing off of C site that way, especially when Savani had already been staring straight into CT, ready to pick at who was going to peek through that smoke we had on. The Jet on our other side here, on Champlain's side, is ready to start opping already, peeking down A long. I'm hoping that the Terps can hopefully get this pick on this Jet, maybe use some of Davy Jones's util to get this Jet to run away, but looks like that Jet was able to get straight across. They're expecting a little bit of a push from the Terps here, just waiting for somebody to peek out just a little bit. Hopefully Savani does not get caught in this op hold here. It's looking a little scary here. Champlain's starting to push up a little bit. They see that Soap had a crazy cam going on there. This Jet is still holding on, waiting to get a pick here as the Terps start retreating back to B site.
A lot of presence in mid now into this round, and we've seen that happen in the last couple of rounds. Either they've gone mid or gone to C long off of the rotate. This time it will be mid as Savani trying to, she did peek into 1 or 2 of these defenders on the B site, gonna calm that to the rest of her team, and maybe they're gonna make a decision off of that to actually scale towards this A site. But they're gonna have to aware of this operator, and they don't know that it's positioned in A long until now, once it fires and misses, thankfully, off of Trace there, but now they know where that operator is, and they have got to just deal with it head on if they want this A site.
I mean, the Jet started to reposition, watching into sewers here. 30 seconds for the Terps to plant bomb. The Reyna's here to help out that Jet. Savani dashes straight into site. Hopefully she can get a pick on this Reyna. The Jet ends up getting a pick on Davy Jones, and so does that Reyna on Savani here. Trace also gets picked off, and so does Carrots here. But here's Soap, ready to hold down as much as she can, trying to get these picks. Since bomb isn't planted, we just have to get these picks, but it looks like it's either going to have to be a save round or Soap is just going to have to die to this Jet here.
If there's any silver lining to that round, it's that the Jet did not net much of anything there. So Terps got to be happy to, you know, take that ultimate off the board, and they do have Trace's ultimate, which is really good for post-plant scenarios, especially C long. You know, that operator comes into real handy there. So the Terps, you know, have got to find their groove here on the attack. It does look like that operator is repurchased, but it's positioned into mid, which could be deadly considering how much the Terps have relied on their mid presence.
Yep, it looks like they're going to start hanging out around window in just a little bit here. This Jet is scaring me, just holding down mid here with that op. Hopefully Soap doesn't get picked off while she's trying to look through her cam to see who is where. Carrots hears noise here by this KJ trying to, you know, push through that smoke and get some kills through that smoke there on C long. Davy Jones encounters that turret, gets shot by their Jet, and Davy Jones also gets caught down by their Clove from Champlain's side.
Yeah, and the operator does take a life off the bat this time. Carrot's able to respond for the Terps, wallbanging with a Sheriff, buys their team a little bit more space into garage, able to pick up a Vandal now. That's going to be huge, but she does get killed thanks to that double swing there. Savani just trying to make something out of nothing, but with the operator, it's just too overwhelming for the Terps.
Wow, Champlain has a lot of power now that their Jet has a hold of this operator. I mean, now that this is going on for the Terps. We are 4-1 so far. I'm wondering if Coach Desi is going to call a timeout anytime soon to kind of get the Terps to recollect any game plans going on here. I mean, our buys are looking a little better in a way. Oh, speaking of, Desi does call out for a timeout. I mean, what different could the Terps do in this situation here?
I mean, it's difficult because they have tried a couple of things. Nothing's really worked out. So my only suggestion would maybe have to be to like just try something completely different. Mid does not seem to be working out. They're able to take B site. They're not able to hold the retake on B. And it's a difficult site to hold down, you know, with those two entryways, and you don't have a lot of space on B site to really hide or hold a high-low or anything like that. So I would not be surprised if we maybe start ending B a little bit less. I like how A is looking, but the problem on A is that we have to get through that operator and that jet that's usually there, and that is one of their strongest players. So the question is, you know, do they try and hit C through most likely garage and try to work through that cage utility, or do they try to outnumber the jet and work on their post plant on A site?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Coach Dusty is here trying to cook up something in the studio. The jet, I mean, I feel like once that jet drops that operator and Savani gets a hold of that operator, hopefully we can start picking up some rounds ourselves with an op. But it looks like we're going for another default here, but Jet is hanging out on C side. This is so deadly. I'm hoping that we can use as much util to get this Jet off. We do have Carrots trying to jump spot. It's starting to smoke off site for us just a little bit. Unfortunately, that Jet does get that pick on Carrot, even after putting down that smoke to help them. Try to push up through C site here. So Ronnie jumps in. Unfortunately, gets picked off by the KJ here.
Oof, and everything just crumbling into a million pieces for the Terps, player after player dying, and that operator just unlucky that they switched it up trying to go C long, 4-man rush, and that's where the operator was positioned. At least it's not going to be a flawless though, as Soap does find a pick, but she is the lurker, so it's going to be easy for Champlain to just, you know, gang up on that one angle, and the Terps not able to net around one after the timeout. That one's gotta hurt, because look at their economy now.
Pretty unfortunate round there for the Terps. I mean, if the Jet wasn't positioned so high up on those boxes, it probably could have, their start probably could have honestly worked out, but that Jet was just able to see right over that smoke and getting straight onto Carrots there. Still holding on to that operator and using a shorty to just help them out. I mean, we're almost close to that ult yet again for this Jet here on Champlain's side, but it looks like she's gonna start going through sewers and at least get another pick. I'm scared here, gets another pick on Soap. Unfortunately, now the Terps know that this Jet is just hanging out on A site, but they still want to commit just a little bit, just as Champlain starts to move back a little. The Reyna does get a pick on Carrot, unfortunately during the middle of a rotate here, but I think this Reyna's gonna start lurking just a little more as the Terps start to finally get onto site here, but they're still trying to clear it out, trying to make sure that CT is a little safe for them, let alone is Heaven, now that they don't have Carrots to smoke them off to safely plant.
Yeah, they've worked their way on this A site. Again, they haven't really found those kills to pick up more ideal weapons, and that's kind of one disadvantage of sneaking up on a site super quiet and stealth mode like this. But regardless, they do have sight, and Savani spotted out by that drone, and the only option is to peek. She does get killed. The Reyna charging onto the site with the help of that Jet's operator, and now Champlain comfortably has sight, and that operator gonna net a third kill for that round. And man, the Terps have got to respond to this operator now that Champlain has almost 5 ultimates online.
Oh yeah, I mean, clearly an unfortunate round here for the Terps. I mean, again, like you said, since we slowly creeped up like that with no kills and with the guns that we had going on that round, it wasn't ideal. I think it was just very unfortunate for Savani to get caught by that Sova drone there in CT, resulting in her trying to leave, and then everybody from Champlain trying to get that pick on her to make sure that she's out of that corner. I mean, this Jet is unstoppable on Champlain's side with that op. It looks like the Jet's gonna start holding down through doors there. More towards C site. Savani is just automatically trying to spray as much as she can to get as much damage. Our Cypher here tries to get that gets that dart here onto that Jet. They know that that Jet's hanging out in garage still, but everything's too quiet to tell. Hopefully Carrots doesn't get picked up. You're walking into that smoke, but thankfully that KJ was caught off guard, leaving C to be left open only with that Jet just automatically hanging out there ready to op down C long automatically.
Yeah, and that luckily takes out one of the 10 ultimates that were in the lobby previously that can't be used later on thanks to Carrots, and now it looks like the rest of our team trying to make this A hit just work out for them, but Savani cannot find that opening pick, and Davy Jones is left to fend for herself in a 2v1 there. Does able to take down that Reyna thanks to Savani dwindling down that HP, but now the Terps have got to kind of dance around the Sova ultimate coming their way. Should get plant down no problem, but a lot of utilities already starting to flood in from Champlain. Trace narrowly escaping a deadly blow from an operator there, and now she's going to be happy to just keep her life and play off site here, just use her ultimate potentially to her advantage. Terps have beautiful ultimates for this post plan, including Davy Jones's ultimate there. Oh my goodness, Carrots, insane shots, not even needing to use that ultimate too much at all. But wow, finally a decisive round goes in the favor of the Terps.
What a great round, very stressful at that. I was holding my breath yet again, but that doesn't stop the enemy Jet from getting another op on Champlain's side. They just simply had too much money from the previous rounds the Terps have lost. But I mean, the Jet did end up using their ult during that last round, but thanks to that ult, they were just flying up in the sky, and we were able to get a last 2 picks on that Clove and Jet. So hopefully at this off angle, a little bit of an off angle here, this Jet isn't able to pick off any Terps, but it is looking more favorable towards A site, trying to scope out the scenery, trying to see and hear who's where and where is what. I mean, C is a little open with the KJ just hanging out there, but even with that smoke down, they're still trying to get as much info as they can here. Carrots is just waiting, as is Davy Jones, to slowly push up with Savani there from both sides. Davy Jones gets a pick on the Reyna, but unfortunately gets picked off by that Clove there.
Yeah, almost 2 picks for Davy Jones. Will Savani be able to finish off? The rest, no, she gets killed. And now the Terps kind of have to retreat a little bit. But look at Carrot's positioning. She's been very sneakily working up this C site. Has C site completely under control, and has suspicion that there's someone there hanging out in CT. Throws a smoke for some extra insurance. But she's expecting the rest of her team to meet up with her and plant this bomb, which Trace is going to do shortly. And this KJ is just expecting that Soap is going to lurk here into Garage. So KJ ultimate is invested for the side of Champlain. It's going to force the Terps to play this one off site, which isn't a problem on C long. Typically, a lot of people opting to play C long even when a KJ ultimate is not forcing them to do so. And now Trace finally going to use that Sova ultimate to its full advantage, as it does find a pick, and the rest of her team just hunting to, you know, take some assists off of that Soap, making things work into Garage, although she does get killed, leaving Trace and Carrots here in a 2v1 post plan where they're able to just spam this bomb and ping it in order to close out this round, narrowing the lead of Champlain.
What an amazing round there by the Terps. Again, very close. I was also holding my breath yet again. But, I mean, it worked out in their favor, but Soap was kind of going crazy there, getting as much kills as she could. She's 8-6 right now. I mean, that could have gone any way with that Cloves using their ult, going back to life there, but ultimately getting that pick there from Soap. I mean, it looks like Jet is finally going to opt in with a Vandal here for this round. And hopefully that makes things a little bit easier for the Terps now that this Jet is off of that op, but that does not mean that this Jet can't hit their shots here.
And the Reyna swings first, does not get a pick, although they have used their ultimate. Looking to stay onto this A site and are looking towards Savani's direction. Actually going to peek into Savani, and they do find that pick. Looks like Savani was acting alone, though, as the rest of her team is, you know, favoring mid in this C site, which Carrots, yet again, just very sneakily worked up her way onto the site and is looking to even find some more picks there in CT. Gonna throw down a smoke, but not before the Jet's able to sneak through in front of that smoke. And now Carrots is left to deal with about 3 players there who flooded in from CT. The Jet's gonna take it down. Carrots, Davy Jones trying to avenge her. Gonna have to pick up bomb and plant it sooner rather than later, but the Terps have not really sealed the deal yet, despite finding a lot of space on C site.
I get what you said. Having a Reyna on the opposite team, you know, Reyna's just a crazy, insane agent to be playing here.
Left.
The Terps do have 30 seconds to go ahead and plant bomb as they're running all the way to A site, and of course, I'm sure Champlain has already noted that they're going to run all the way to A site, and this Jet is going to be the first person on site here. I mean, hopefully the Terps can at least get some plant money down, and Soap is trying to strategically place in that cam to help our Terps out here, as this Clove is going to start strategically placing these smokes to help out Champlain, but they're all starting to go in through CT. I'm hoping at least we can get at least a collat here going on from Soap now that they're both peeking her in hell. We do get a trade going on here. Davy Jones is trying to get that pick, but the Reyna finishes off with 3 kills that round.
Yeah, what a round for that Reyna. Able to, you know, really get your bang for your buck with that ultimate, which, you know, like you said, sometimes very hit or miss. But that time it was a hit for Champlain as they, you know, put a stop to this kind of mini run that the Terps were having. But scoreline is not looking too dire. I don't think the Terps need to panic yet because they probably are just betting on maybe having a stronger defensive side now that that operator, you know, it's harder to use that against them when, you know, it's placed on the attack. So both teams coming in with full loadouts this next round. The Terps do have 2 ultimates to their advantage, though.
We do have this Jet really down onto C site, and Savani is just ready to rush in onto A long here. They do end up breaking that Sova ult as this Reyna is starting to retreat back from sewers after the Terps get a hunch that somebody's hanging out there, as Savani slowly speaking up onto A long. We have the Clove holding on to mid here, but Soap is already down majority of her health here. Savani's still waiting for some more movement. I'm not quite sure if she knows that there's somebody waiting in both sewers and on site. This KJ is holding down garage window as Carrots is trying to get rid of their util. And this KJ hints at it, but fortunately Carrots breaks all that util that KJ is trying to throw in at them. But now we know positions here on both sides.
Yeah, just swings here and there, but the Reyna is the first one to get a pick on to Trace, and that Reyna's been very successful peeking up into A-short. That's kind of what started to go wrong for the Terps in the previous round. Hopefully it's not the same story here into the next. Savani does get that pick on the Reyna. That is a huge pick for the Terps, but they have taken some HP damage, and now Carrots did use her ultimate, but it's got to be calming to the rest of her team about some of this positioning for the side of Champlain as Savani does get picked, which makes things look even more dire for the Terps. They've got to make up their mind here. Is it going to be B? Is it going to be C through garage? Something is going to happen in the next 13 seconds, and it's got to be that the spike has to be planted.
Oh my goodness, I'm so scared. Davy Jones is finally starting doing that plan, but little do they know Jet is hiding there in cubby, ready to go flank them. But Carrie ultimately gets that pick on that KJ that's been hiding in garage for who knows how long. But Davy Jones is hiding the smoke, ready for somebody to at least walk in, but unfortunately gets caught in crossfire here. And the Terps ultimately, unfortunately, lose that round, but from Champlain there. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Champlain has answered. You know, we were wondering after map number 1, is it going to be a dominant map number 2? Is it going to be a comeback moment? Things have been more dominant towards Champlain's side, but the Terps are still in this just as much as, you know, they're trying to be. You know, obviously, like, it's not an ideal scoreline for them, but it's definitely could look worse. You know, this is not a lost cause by any means. Now, granted, the operator is repurchased, which is going to make things more difficult for Carrots, who looks like she may be the first one to swing out into that operator. I'm going to jump peek that angle, presumably, and luckily so, avoiding a deadly shot there.
Savani popped her ult here, trying to go in through A-long yet again, with her Clove just holding down mid here. Hopefully Savani doesn't get picked off, and she does, considering that Jet did request buy that off and bought that Vandal for themselves. That's one person off already on the team, with Soap just fighting this KJ here, just waiting for some more movement. And our Clove is just now knows that there's people coming down through B sites. So Savani's trying to get in with a judge, by the way. Trying to get as much picks as she can. Considering she has a judge, she just has to play off of position here, but gets picked off, unfortunately. And now all we have left is Soap trying to get as much as she can here. Gets caught by that Sova dart. Leaving us at 9-3 for the half.
Alright, I want to see a 9-3 curse right now for the Terps. If they want to close this out in 2, and hopefully their defense is going to be stronger. You know, they had a really, really solid attack last time on Lotus, but maybe Haven is a different story. Maybe they've worked on their defense a little bit more on this map. Typically, people do think that this map is more attack-sided because there's more ground to cover for the defense. You have 3 sites to worry about. But depending on agent comp, depending on play style, that could always be a different story. We do have Soap Cypher Utilities posted up on the C site, which I do like, and is going to be really difficult for Champlain to overcome here on C.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to be A-okay here now that we have Soap on defense side. I mean, they get her cam out automatically as Champlain's Clove is starting to push up, hiding in the smoke here onto C side as Carrots is starting to just start spamming the smoke, trying to get as much damage done. Hopefully Savani doesn't get caught after this smoke dissipates. Oh my goodness, thank goodness Savani was able to get that pick off, but then there's 2 more teammates from Champlain trying to get Savani. And wow, we are dropping like flies here, but we are at a 3v3 here.
Yeah, super aggressive from both sides off the bat here on this pistol round. Looks like this is going to be an A hit to end things for Champlain. But Trace does get killed there. It's going to make things really difficult for Davy Jones, but doesn't matter. She is a ghost demon, but she might be faced with 2 who are peeking through the smoke, and that's exactly what happens as Carrots is left to her own devices here, working up a storm on the flank, gonna creep up into A short to try and catch this Clove off guard, with a double swing comes through, but doesn't matter for Carrots as she is just better, finds 2 heads with the matter of milliseconds and gives the Terps hope here on map number 2.
We can breathe just a little bit there. I mean, Karis was so relieved to win that round, as you saw on that little face cam we had going on there. I mean, although it may just be 1 round, that could mean a lot for us Terps here moving forward. I mean, who knows that this Jet is going to get another op right when they get the money for it. I mean, it's gonna be great. I mean, who knows? This Jet looks like they might be a Deagle Demon. We have Carrots getting that Outlaw, and we have a pretty okay buy going on here for the Terps. I mean, Savani's gonna peek down A long, hopefully get that pick off of Champlain early on into the round.
Hopefully that's gonna, light a fire for the Terps and just kind of, give them more confidence here. Carrots using that Outlaw and C long, finding a pick, and Savani trying to do the same with a Marshall. Does not quite land a shot there, C long on that Jet, who was, a sniper demon when they were on the defense, and now Savani trying to, steal a page from that Jet's book. Now Champlain kind of neglecting Spike right now. They're trying to take up some space, trying to, read where this positioning is, and the answer is the positioning is everywhere. The Terps have not budged on any site right now.
At all. Savani's still trying to slowly peek and fight off this Jet here. A Jet v Jet going on A long, but Champlain is there to help out their Jet, trying to get Savani out of the picture here. But Savani's very patient, is starting to back off, switching to her pistol and just waiting for more information here. But the Reyna there on Champlain's side is very low. Hopefully Carrots can get a pick on that Reyna. Reyna's 7 HP. All Carrots has to do is at least hit her just a little bit. But Sova over here is waiting with their Jet. Hopefully Trace doesn't get picked off while running into the both of them. Unfortunately, Trace does get picked off, and as well does Savani by that Jet. But Davy Jones is hopefully here to help, but they're starting to retreat back as Champlain's Reyna gets picked off. But this Jet is very low as well.
And now it's just Soap, but not for long, and any hope that the Terps did have in that last round, thanks to Carrots, just absolutely wizard-like work on that Ghost, has been crushed in round number 2 with that loss. That's going to put Champlain at 10 round wins. This is not the position that the Terps want to be in.
I'm surprised there wasn't another timeout again by Coach Dusty here. I mean, we're pretty okay with our kills going on onto the leaderboard. I really just think it's our strat happening here. I mean, Champlain was defaulting for the past 2 rounds, I believe, and I think we just really have to win our fights here because Champlain's very unexpected with the way that they play.
Carrots trying to swing, so does Soap, and it's just a worst case scenario for the Terps with both of them getting picked off, and the rest of Champlain trying to take more space into grass. It doesn't work out for the Terps as Davy Jones gets killed as well. It only dwindles down the numbers to 2 remaining Terps here, and they're grouped together onto A long, completely out of position to defend C site and just have a monstrous of a retake ahead of them.
Now they're starting to rotate there onto C-site now that they know, but this just gives Champlain a lot of time to figure out their positioning. I mean, it is a 5v2 here. This can end in anybody's game, and with this bye, we have Trace with the classic here. The triple, almost all of them are holding down our flank, or their CT side here, but the Terps are going to be going down through CT with Trace throwing in that dart. I mean, this could be winnable for anybody. We still have Savani holding on with us here, but they're all just gonna jump peek with this one way from their clove here. I mean, all that util being held down. Savani's just trying to get as much info as she can before peeking out to defuse the spike, but unfortunately, it looks like the spike is gonna defuse, giving Champlain 11 rounds.
Yeah, Savani and Trace both dying just to help things economy-wise, but man, the thing's looking kind of dire here on map number 2. It's not over till it's over, and Coach Dusty knows that and is taking a timeout to kind of talk out any remaining strategy, but man, has not looked good, especially with what we saw on Lotus. Just complete 180 almost. The scoreline is almost exactly flipped.
I mean, with that last bye round, I feel like it wasn't quite fair for the Terps, of course, but I mean, they really just gotta lock it down, figuring out their sites and clearing those sites and winning their battles against Champlain, because again, it's kind of unexpected the way that they played, but they're really good at playing retake and just holding down and just figuring out where to look and what to hold upon retake there. Coach Dusty just cooking it up again in the studio.
Yeah, it's just like the smiles we saw, the giggling has turned into stone cold serious from Coach Dusty, but I'm sure from the rest of the team as well. You know, it's high stakes. You know, it's fun in games when you're winning, but then it's, you know, oh shoot, you know, we got to finish the job, we got to win if we want to get to the grand finals, and that is the kind of challenge that the Terps are faced with right now, looking at a scoreline that is 11-4 with no ultimates online, so they're gonna have to really just brute force this one with their guns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Champlain has ignited a fire on their end, so they're just ready to go on and just fight as much as they can. We already have a lot of them going down through C. It's Garage more specifically, so hopefully Soap doesn't get caught in that, but throwing in that cam, they're gonna have to expect it on coming from Champlain's side as they slowly start to peek up into B, slow walking, trying to get as much, you know, info as they can, trying to figure out who's playing where, but they're all ready. It looks like they're all ready to just jump in right when they kill this thing over here. The Jet just automatically jumps on top of the box, hiding in the smoke to not get caught up by anybody, with the clove hiding each side from the Terps from peeking out, trying to get into Champlain, but it looks like Champlain's doing pretty good and is ready to just take on any fights that go against them.
Yeah, they are ready for this retake that the Terps are inevitably going to have to pull off here. Looks like they're trying to do so with an equal split on either side, but Savani has to deal with this fight right off the bat. Carrots takes some space for herself as well, although Soap, though, also coming in huge, only leaving one Champlain attacker left. It's the Clove, who they're able to overwhelm by numbers, looking into mid there, and it's a much-needed round win for the Terps.
I mean, now we know how they're going to start to slowly play off B. I mean, the way Champlain played that round was just 1, 2, 3, go kind of thing, you know, throw in that Reyna blind, Jet miss the trip, and just go on top of the box to assert more of like a higher dominance when it comes to, because, you know, you don't necessarily expect that when you're playing, you know, retake. You're not going to look up, you're just going to look who's ever on site, especially on B site where it's a little more difficult because people can hide backside, anything like that. But now it looks like Champlain's still gonna go on for that garage push, kind of. We still have Carrots just hanging on, trying to get that dart, but that dart doesn't necessarily go anywhere. I'm not quite sure if that was something for them to distract Carrots with or anything like that, but they're still pretty adamant of pushing on the A site.
And now the Terps just getting a little bit of a sense of where the positioning is on, you know, the attack side of things. They're going to have to rotate accordingly. However, Champlain being really quiet here, walking up on A side. Is Savani going to be expecting about a 4-man rush to cover away? I'm not sure. She tries to back up and wait for the reinforcements to flood in from the rest of her team and focuses her efforts on, you know, holding a really close angle here. Once this jet smokes dissipates, she might have a huge advantage. She does find a pick, does get traded. Trace and Davy Jones now holding down the fort here on A site. Only leaves one Champlain player left, not for long, as Davy Jones able to take care of that. And 2 rounds in a row. You know, the Terps have been looking good, but can they keep it going?
Started to look up just a little bit. I mean, Champlain, I feel like Champlain kind of just didn't expect for the Terps to be that aggro, at least. I mean, that rotate was crazy to help Savani there on A side. It was very fast and very efficient, and with all that util happening right at the entrance of A, even with Champlain's jet just dashing straight in, was crazy. It was a bloodbath, but fortunately we were able to win that round. It looks like Champlain's jet is going to rely on their ult for this round, but hopefully Davy Jones can prevent this from that full rush going on with all this util and that dart going in there.
It's just a matter of having an answer to this jet for Champlain, who has, you know, way like just more kills than the rest of the team has, which is what you should be doing as a duelist. But it's just like, man, if they're able to deal with that jet, you almost have to think that it becomes almost like even after that, because the scoreline on either side of the kill feed looks even as this round starts out with Soap getting picked off into mid. Carrots about to meet a lot of faces here into C Long, presumably.
I'm so scared for Carrots here. You know, she's going to start jump spotting, and I'm sure this jet is just automatically going to dash up and try and get Carrots as much as she can, but gets lost when Carrots throws in that blind, and Carrots gets that kill on that jet. Another kill, a 3rd kill here on that Sova. Can she make it an ace for tonight? I mean, Champlain is starting to slowly retreat back, with one of them being in Cubby here. Doing an amazing face cam of Carrots going on here. Another one, making it 4 kills. Can she make it an ace? And she does! Another dub here for the Terps. Amazing gameplay by Carrots here. Easy game, easy rounds, easy kills for her. Smiles are starting to come back into the studio. Here goes that replay. 4, and then another one, and 5. An amazing ace that's getting clipped for tonight. That was amazing. Hopefully that brings up more smiles here in the studio. I got to breathe out just a little bit, exhale just a little bit. It's not too scary here, but we are still 11-7 here, and this is anybody's games, but Carrot is just hanging up there, 19-3, carrying us through this all.
Yes, beautiful ace from Carrots to hopefully give the Terps the motivation to, you know, close in on this lead that Champlain has, but the job is not done. They have multiple rounds they've got to win in order to make that a reality. So how will they decide to play out this defensive round? Looks like most of their positioning is going to be on this A site. Meanwhile, Champlain just playing really passively to start things off. They do have a Cypher camp thanks to Soap to try and give a little bit more information for the side of the Terps, and Soap might be the first one to make any contact here, and that's exactly what happens. The buy, though, not looking great for Champlain. It doesn't matter because the Hero Vandal speaks, and it does take down Trace.
Leaving them to have B-side just a little open, you know, Champlain can most definitely just run into B-side here, but it looks like Champlain's gonna meet with Savani just a little bit, unfortunately, but Savani was just caught around that corner. They're running into Garage here as Soap is just hanging out, just hiding in that clove smoke, but Carrot is here getting another pick here on site. Can she get 2 more? She gets that Sova yet again. Can she get down C Long? Unfortunately gets peeked around the corner by that clove, but that's alright because we have Soap here.
1 enemy remaining.
Unfortunately getting picked off by the clove, but now that Rain is starting to come in through Garage, it gives them the space to start planting, leaving only Davy Jones to do retake here. Coming in through Garage, where is Champlain gonna start positioning themselves, especially with that, all of the plant space going on here? All they have to do is just peek, and Davy Jones is just out of the picture automatically. But little do they know that she's slowly starting to peek out. She gets 1 pick, another one, and unfortunately gets picked off by that Clove. That Clove had a really good round. 3 kills that round, getting some of our Terps here. Now we are at match point.
Yeah, that was almost beautiful for the Terps, although I thought it was a 2v1, would have been a different story, but with the swing coming from the other angle, it's very difficult for Davy Jones. But, yeah, like you said, we are at map number 2 point, so Champlain has done a really good job keeping themselves in this series. The Terps gonna have to be perfect from this point on. They have 3 ultimates online, but Champlain 1-ups them at 4.
Here we go. I mean, I think it's all just going to be a full push here from Champlain, but it looks like Savani's starting to expect people to come in down through sewers, but Champlain just isn't quite ready yet. But we do have both duelists on A side, trying to push up through A long. Savani is ready for blood, hopefully getting a pick here, dodging that Clove util there, but now they know that she's hanging out over there, so with that Reyna slowly pushing up to A long, will Davy Jones expect it walking out of that smoke, I presume?
And it's actually a full-scale rotate for Champlain towards the C site where Carrots is waiting, and she's had an amazing game so far, but Davy Jones is met in a 1v1, jump peeks the Reyna, and is gonna not swing out quite in enough time, and the Reyna does find 2 picks there, make that 3 with Savani too. That is not how the Terps wanted this crucial round to start to play out. Carrot's gonna have to, do the impossible here. She does find a pick, but that's all it's gonna be as she does get traded. Now it's all up to Soap, who is the lurk for the Terps, to give them any hope in closing the series out in 2.
Doing the same game plan as they did in last round. Champlain's just holding back down through C long. I mean, Soap's gonna get peeked out here through that turret. They know that Soap is already there, but with this KJ ult happening, I'm pretty sure that they know that they have this in the bag, with the Reyna slowly starting to creep up through Garage, trying to get through Soap, and unfortunately does get Soap, and we give that map over to Champlain.
All right, well, we are going the distance here tonight to map number 3. It will be a nail biter to see who will end up in the grand finals. Hopefully the Terps can use this timeout to, come up with a perfect game plan here, as we are going to head on to Pearl next. So make sure you guys tune back in after a quick commercial break.
Terp Adventures. Take flight at STAM. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body, feed your mind, feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform, find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Off game, or will Red turn things around?
Your ad tech stack is simple, streamlined, and easy to manage, right? Yeah, right. If you're in ad tech, then you know you have a problem. Ad tech is messy, and your tech stack includes way too many tools to effectively manage. At Playwire, we're here to uncomplicate your ad tech stack. We've consolidated the entire publisher ad tech stack into a single platform and added in proprietary technology and advanced tools to generate you even higher CPMs. Get access to an ad tech stack that is simpler and smarter.
right, welcome back. We're going to be heading on to map number 3, which is Pearl, and this one's for all the marbles.
I mean, it seemed like a really intense match there on Haven. I mean, it seems like Champlain can play Haven really well, defender and attack side. I mean, I think with that jet play having off all those rounds, it really got the Terps, it got us tripped up in a way. I mean, but even though that may be something that's not to our advantage, Carrots did hit a crazy ace that game. I mean, what an amazing play by Carrots. I'm pretty sure it's probably on Twitter now. Hey, Twitter. But hopefully with this Pearl game, it'll go smoothly here for our Terps. I mean, now that it's a pretty far map, I mean, it's a pretty big map, only having an A and a B site, there's no third site, so maybe that might trip Champlain up or might trip us up. So who knows? This is for all the marbles, as Lily said.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the 2 maps that we've had in this series have not been decided by a round or 2. They have been each decided by like 6+ rounds. So we've had just a complete 180 in the other direction from map number 1 to map number 2. And it's interesting because I wonder if that's what we are going to see on map number 3, or if things are going to be more neck and neck. You know, what could be more high pressure than map number 3 overtime, you know? So it's gonna be interesting to see if that is the kind of way that this map goes. You know, I think this team is pretty comfortable on Pearl. Savani does like playing that operator on this map, but that means that the other jet also probably does.
Operator as well, right? I mean, the last few times we've been at the studio with Terps GC, they had a little bit of trouble holding down B site there on Lotus, but I mean, they did make it back up by, I believe, them winning that map. I mean, hopefully Coach Dusty, and they've been, you know, Coach Dusty's told him, you know, other strats and how to hold down site, hold down, you know, trying to prevent retake, let alone, I mean, I'm sure that they practice a lot for this. I mean, again, on to grand finals. That's so nerve-wracking for both us and Champlain.
Yeah, their whole season comes down to this map, and that's a lot of pressure for both sides. But it's a matter of which team will be able to rise to the occasion and rise under that pressure, or which team is going to crumble. Hopefully, it is not going to be the Terps, but it's anybody's game. We've seen really dominant performances from both sides when it's mattered for their team the most. So a lot to look forward to on map number 3. Definitely stick around to see the conclusion of this game, which is going to be, like we said, on Pearl, a heavily practiced map for the Terps. But they've had their struggles, like you said, particularly on B site, on the defense. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're on attack or defense and how that looks in the early stages of map number 3.
I mean, I think it'll be a-okay. I have a hunch that Champlain's probably going to play almost close enough to their same comp. As for their duelist, since they do like to go double duelist, it might be that Reyna and Jet combo again. That could potentially be very, you know, interesting for the Terps here. I mean, Savani might go Raze here, or a Jet play, or they could do what Champlain can do what they did in the first map and go with Raze and Jet. Either way, these combos are both deadly, so I'm very, very on the edge of my seat to see how this plays out. I mean, again, anybody's game here. Who knows?
Yeah, and the way Champlain has been working out their compositions is they usually just have like one player who's playing something kind of unexpected. In the first map, it was Clove. Second map, it was Reyna, who will be on the third map. We're going to have to see, but that's kind of something that the Terps have to keep in their back pocket is, hey, are we going to get a Yoru? Are we going to get a Neon? You know, are we going to get something unexpected like we kind of did see that be the trend in the first 2 maps? Meanwhile, the Terps, in their composition, nothing's changed. You know, they're going with what has worked for them. I suspect on Pearl that will look like a Jet. That will look like, I think, a
KO maybe?
Yeah, KO is good on this map. An Omen, I'm sure. Or an Astra. I could see Carrots playing Astra as well.
Hopefully it'll be an Astra, so, you know, you can get a lot of that coverage, I guess, for that map. Again, Pearl is a big map, either A or B site, no in between. And, you know, I have a really, really big feeling that there's going to be a lot of mid action here. Champlain might be able to take over Art and go through doors like it's nothing, especially if they have their Jet holding on into that operator yet again. So we'll see. I think that, you know, it's anybody's game at this point, and that's a-okay. I mean, just good to go.
Yeah, it makes for a really exciting series, and it has been exactly that for the last 2 maps. And the Terps, while they did not win map number 2, their spirits were still pretty high from what I could tell, just like being out amongst them in the studio for that brief break. Still laughing, still giggling. There was a little bit of coaching going on as well. So just, it's good to know that they're not defeated heading into map number 3, because you cannot enter map number 3 being already like beating yourself.
Vibes. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you just gotta lock in. I mean, again, considering this is anybody's game, what is going to be done differently from Champlain? I'm sure that their coach is also going to be cooking up something in their studio the same way Dusty is here as well. I'm hopefully gonna see, hopefully we can see more aces on this side, maybe from Carrots, maybe from Savani, anybody here. I know we had a recent clip on Pearl, actually, on B-site, that was ultimately super duper crazy clips. So all we can do is just hope and see what the Terps can do differently, what they can change up, and kind of move out of their comfort zone. I mean, what we've been seeing is just a bunch of comfort picks for them and a little bit of comfort plays as well. Maybe they can switch it up with the way that they enter onto site, or maybe even when they hold down site.
Yeah, like you said, comfort picks are going to be the name of the game here, I think, for the Terps. And also, like you mentioned, last time GC was in the studio, they had a stellar game on Pearl, particularly Davy Jones on the KO pick, had a really, really good game, a couple of really good clutches there. So did Savani. I believe Savani was playing Jet at the time. So I think that is what we're going to see. And I think we are in Agent Select, or we will be heading there very shortly. We'll be able to get an answer as to what sides each team has opted to pick here, which is going to tell us a lot. So the Terps will be on the attack. Davy Jones going with that KO, Savani with the Jet, like we said, and Carrots with that Asha. Those were all kind of what we were expecting, but in terms of the kind of out-of-pocket picks, we have a Vice. We have a Reina again.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And they did run it back with a Teo this time. No Sova pick for that person there. But, I mean, we did completely expect this play from the Terps GC. We have Davy Jones on KO. And Asha is an amazing pick there from Carrots. But, I mean, it looks like they might end up developing. It's too early to tell into the round, but Vi is already setting up on B side. I personally think that's pretty deadly for the Terps to encounter that. I mean, not unless that they can get through all that util and get their picks onto B site. It should be smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, so the Terps gonna be able to set the tone here on the attack. Trace definitely has a lineup or two here to work with those shock darts, with those scanning darts. Like you said, a lot of mid presence right off the bat. It's a bloodbath here outside of Art. So far, Trace is the only one to have died, but Champlain is just fighting here for some space into mid, and it's working out beautifully for them as they take down Savani as well. Now the Terps are kind of in scrambles here. They're gonna have to favor this B site with the positioning that they had, and luckily Carrot's able to land a great smoke there to stop this Vice, but the flash comes through and they don't quite capitalize off that flash, do a lot of damage to Soap, but she's able to hold on to her life, and bomb does get planted.
Unfortunately, that Vice wall does end up trapping a lot of our Terps here. Davy Jones getting that Vice. Thankfully, another one's gonna start peeking out, and she gets another one on their Teo. All she has to do is hold it down. Carrot unfortunately gets picked off by that Clove. Davy Jones has to fight for her life here to hopefully prevent that defuse here. Their Clove on Champlain's side is just trying to bait out Bomb here, and they're starting to figure out where Davy Jones is holding. Davy Jones runs out of the smoke and unfortunately gets picked off by that Clove.
In a really hard position to be in if you're Davy Jones there, because he got smoked off, so the Terps just narrowly lose round number 1, and you just don't want to see a snowball effect. And the reason why I'm hyping up round number 1 so much is because it's just been a series of insane leads, so you don't want to let any team go on a run. And now that the Terps just don't have a good buy, they have Outlaws, which are really good long-range weapons, gonna be posted up, be long, and just kind of those long angles in mid also. Terps gonna have to work around that.
It is just a distance game on both sides. I mean, that's why they're going in through mid, is because those fights are very close. But here goes this Jett holding this Outlaw. Hopefully doesn't get picked off. But Davy Jones unfortunately does get picked off, and so does Trace, both with an Outlaw. Savani's here slowly picking into the smoke, but the Reyna's playing Savani's game, holding that Judge. Hopefully Savani doesn't get caught, but Savani ultimately does get caught by that Reyna, unfortunately. This isn't looking too hot for the Terps right now. We got 2-5 on our numbers, and I'm sure that this Vise knows that Carrots is just hanging out behind there, jump spotting this Vise, trying to bait them out just a little bit. Starts to use that utility, but the Vise gets past it and gets that pick off of Carrots. We have only just one more Terp alive here. Soap is also a duo demon, so you never know how this can go, but an Outlaw is just such a powerful one-shot gun that she could also still lose this, and she's trying to jump spot here. She's trying to at least get one hit onto that Vise, and she ultimately does and kills that Vise. What crazy aim here from Soap. The Champlain's Jett is starting to lock in down onto Soap, and Soap is ultimately going to get cornered, especially with that Teo being right behind her slowly. And either way, all she has to do is plant the bomb, but it's hard with these kinds of guns going against her as well.
Yeah, just people flooding in from all different sides, only a Deagle in hand, getting just overwhelmed with utility. Not going to work out for Soap, but that was not a buy round for the Terps, so they kind of, you know, go into a buy round kind of expecting to lose that. Here, they're able to buy up, though, although we do have a tech pause, so Terps going to kind of use this as a opportunity to kind of reconvene, think about what has not worked out so well for them these last 2 rounds, and thinking about, you know, how can they really use their buys to their full advantage to just, you know, not let this game get out of touch for them so early on.
I think it was just maybe unfortunate timing there for the Terps. I mean, after losing the first round, you're obviously going to expect a buy from the other team on that round. So, you know, even though we were able to get some picks with Deagles, you know, a lot of the Terps on our side are Deagle demons. It just wasn't fair going against an Outlaw, of course. But this third round could, now that it's buy round, it could turn things around, maybe hopefully getting us a round for that matter. But even with splitting into mid and holding on to belong there, that Jett is starting to play very aggro and just in the beginning of the map.
Yeah, there's been a lot of aggression from Champlain already, and it's worked out for them really well because they're swinging with confidence. And I think a lot of that confidence is coming from map number 2. You know, their heads are still there of, hey, we dominated, so we can do the same thing here on Pearl. Terps have got to get out of that mindset, though. You know, it just seems like something is not working out in the early stages of these rounds, and the rest kind of comes crumbling soon after.
And I mean, honestly, that Vise is a little expected there on C-Site, so hopefully the Terps can kind of pick up on how that Vise is moving throughout C-Site and how that Vise is also holding down C-Site. I mean, some of the plays that Champlain is doing is a little bit expected now. I mean, even though it's a little early on to the game, you're going to have to start expecting that, especially with Champlain being so good at winning their fights against our Terps.
Yeah, so Coach Dusty going to be spreading those words of wisdom to his team here during that timeout, which we should be heading out of shortly. Hopefully the Terps going to, you know, have a really strong round after this timeout just to flip the script a little bit. They do have a bye on their side. That is typically when coaches do take timeouts, is right before your team is about to come in with a bye, because that is like when the momentum is most likely to be able to shift.
Yeah, it's basically a make or break kind of, you know, like in Valorant, that third round is a little crucial. If you start to force buy right after that, chances are you won't win your rounds because, you know, you're going to try thrifty for the rest of the game, basically, and it's not going to work in your favor, not unless, I guess, you're Deagle demons, I don't know. But trying to pick up those enemy guns is going to be a little hard, especially on your economy. And it looks like we're slowly getting back into the game here. That Jett from Champlain has that Outlaw and is blinded, but that Reyna's just running in with that Judge, trying to get another pick on Savani again, but Savani avenges herself and gets that amazing pick off of that Reyna there.
Yeah, great round to start. A great way to start out this round for Savani, getting an early pick there, just taking advantage of that gun disadvantage. But now Carrots trying to, you know, just detonate a lot of that Vice utility, so maybe it won't be an issue later on. That is certainly a strategy to try and counter Vice, as the Terps are in a bit of a stalemate. They're spread out, a 3-2 split, 3 of which are positioned B long, and 2 of which are kind of lurking, but not for long, as Davy Jones tries to meet up with the rest of their team, who's about to be met with a Vice swinging close right on the other side of Savani's jet smoke, but Savani gonna take that space, but not for long, as she does get picked off. Trace, though, is able to respond, holding down this site, taking space, taking names, and has found her way in back of halls.
We have good numbers here. We got 4-2 so far. Soaps just expects this Teo here, but this Teo also expects somebody to come out. But hopefully Soap can win this fight against this Teo, but unfortunately misses her shots. Now this Teo is on a high alert against Soap here. Hopefully Soap doesn't get picked off here, but this Jet with this Outlaw is going to start checking halls. Hopefully Trace doesn't get caught in that Outlaw, but again, an Outlaw is just a powerful gun as she drops it, and Davy Jones gets to her before running into halls, and Trace finishes off the round, getting that pick off of that Teo.
And finally, the Terps are on the board, and a round just went well for them. And I think what really did work out for them there is they got that Vice utility out of the equation early on, thanks to Carrots. Just, you know, triggered that wall, triggered those thorns. And then it wasn't an issue later on for the rest of her team to meet up with her. Granted, it does draw attention that way, but if you're kind of conditioning the other team to having a lurk there on B side every single round, they don't know when there's a full rush coming in right after or when there's not.
Exactly. And with Savani starting to pick up the pace a little bit, I mean, she's starting to run in here onto A side. Hopefully Reina doesn't push up with that judge yet again. Savani gets an amazing pick. Can she get a second one? Unfortunately not, but the Reina does get Davy Jones as the Jet gets Savani. This Jet is still trying to hold to see if anybody else is coming, but here we have that Vice. Yet again, Carrot tried to detonate all of those, or tried to alert all of those Vice util, and now that Vice knows that there's people here.
And the Vice does get a pick on Trace, is hunting for more, does find Carrots in the process. It only leaves Soap, who's left behind the rest of her teammates who were once alive and now are only weapons on the floor. But Soap just trying to maybe get a pick or two. She does have a Vandal. This is doable at least to get just a couple picks here. Starts it off with finding one, picks up a different Vandal with a cooler skin, and works her way onto this site and trying to plant this bomb, but does not expecting that there's one more person sitting into halls, and that will be the end to what could have been a run from the Terps.
Wow, I mean, that was a cool skin. Was that Kuronami?
Yeah,
kind of the
that
rain
skin.
skin. Yeah, amazing skin. 10 out of 10. Cannot blame her. But I mean, they did get one round, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be trying to get more rounds here. I think Terps are a little intimidated, trying to read how Champlain's going to be going on with this. I mean, the Vise is always going to be there on B, just hanging out, and I think the Terps are trying to figure out a way to get around the util, you know, trying to trigger it, but ultimately it just doesn't end well for the Terps here. That KO knife does end up catching this Jet here, hiding in. Savani is already down mid, ready to get some blood here, trying to, hopefully she can get this Vise here, even with that, you know, getting caught in that util, but now they're trying to hold in that entrance through sewers, because, you know, Champlain's obviously expecting somebody to just run out there, but here goes that Vise holding that entrance on the B site.
Yeah, a lot of space taken into mid, but Davy Jones is going to have to fight for it while Soap gets a pick there as she is the team's lurk. So it doesn't quite get more than one for the time. They're going to use Soap's nade to kind of slow down this push that's happening into mid and let Savani do the rest of the work as she's trying to make her way on to this B site. And Kareth is there to help as well, and everyone just doing their part for the Terps, and they're staying alive. Now Soap, the first one to get picked off for the Terps, and a retake is happening with 2 of them pushing in from CT there.
But the Terps have this entrance just on lock, just making sure that nobody walks out of there. You know, Champlain's kind of just hidden there. They have no choice but to peek out. Trace gets that pick on the Jet and finishes it, getting it on that Tejo. An amazing round here by the Terps. Savani is just barely any HP, but that was a good fight nonetheless.
All right, the Terps are staying in it. They're staying in this game. There's only one round that separates the two teams. So closer margin than we have seen all series kind of forming here on map number 3, which is a little scary. But we'll have to see how the rest of it plays out now that both teams have a more or less of a full buy, with the buy slightly favoring the Terps here. And ultimates even across the board as well. So things are pretty level here heading into this next round.
Yeah, the Terps are starting to commit to an A push here. This Teo's ready, and I'm sure that Champlain's already calming, because I mean, look at the Terps are so far up with Soap putting in that KJ. Oh, hopefully they don't get caught here. They get blinded. Champlain. Savani gets that kill on that Reyna. He's one more and gets it on that Teo. The Terps are all in on site here. Now they're just trying to clear out and hold whoever's going to start peeking in. This is going to be a Jet v Jet here. Savani hopefully, unfortunately, does not get that pick, and their Jet also gets a pick on Davy Jones. Hopefully it's not a third here on Trace. They pop that ult, but then gets caught by Carrot as the Clove gets another pick on Trace here. I mean, Champlain's already on site. All they have to do is wait for this util to be used up and just stick the diffuse.
Oh, and they're going to use that Vice ultimate. There's 2 ultimates invested for Champlain this round. Not sure if either of them, though, are going to net a round win, as the bomb is taking down for the Terps. And now Soap is mad, even taking down more guns and more players, more lives to further give, and keeping her own gun. Oh my goodness, what a round for Soap to put us at an even scoreline and taking 2 crucial ultimates out of the equation.
Now we're even, and I feel like what you said earlier before we got into this map, I think it's gonna be a little bit of back and forth. I mean, I don't think we're gonna be able to tell who's gonna win so early on into the game. It's gonna be just, you know, just hot pocketing, just, you know, hot potato off of one another here. So I'm hoping that with this mid push, it looks like it's going to be an intense mid push here. Savani already going straight into doors along with Trace, and the Jet starting to back up. But here comes Savani already halfway down mid. Hopefully she's going to get this pick on this side, and she does. Amazing play by Savani, and now they're basically locked in onto B. All the Terps has to do is just follow Savani and basically plant that spike if they can make it, now that Champlain's just following slowly behind them.
Oh, Davy Jones and Trace here trying to fight for mid. Trace does get killed. Davy Jones left with a fully flashed Reyna right in front of her. Gonna take that kill for Davy Jones. She's gonna back up, being happy with that kill, and support the rest of her team on this site in a 3v3 retake. Terps do have a slight gun advantage here, so they do not want to take any unnecessary swings. They're gonna let these Champlain defenders swing into them first. The Teo ultimate is invested for the defense, and it does do a lot of damage, but Savani and Davy Jones holding on to their life, and they are gonna just clean up that last remaining Jet to put the Terps ahead for the first time on map number 3.
3 kills from Savani on that round. I mean, that must have been really intense and really nerve-wracking. I mean, I forgot who got to, I believe, who called that timeout. I think that was Coach Dusty that might have called that timeout. But I mean, now that there's been an intense amount of rounds that are won, let's not get over our heads. Let's kind of just sit down and talk, strategize what we can do to make sure that we keep winning those rounds and moving on forward. Again, Coach Dusty just cooking it up in the studio yet again, you know, trying to, you know, taking notes, seeing how Champlain plays and how they do retake and how they try and just chase us down onto a site here. What are we going to be able to do differently, especially considering we're so neck and neck at the moment?
Yeah, and it's been neck and neck, but if you look at the scoreline, the Terps have really found themselves on a run here, despite the scoreline being so close. The reason why this timeout is taken is because there's been a clear just dominance so far in the last couple rounds from the Terps. So that's a good thing if you're a Terps fan, but you just hope they can keep it going to further separate this lead before we even start to have any conversations about potential overtime.
Oh yeah, potential overtime is going to be intense, especially for this map. It's anybody's game yet again, and it looks like we're back from that timeout just a little bit, but let's see how the Terps are able to, you know, go against Champlain this time. And here goes Champlain's Jet with this operator. I'm sure they're going to be able to get some crazy picks here. Holding down sight. Savani's already starting to push up onto A, is ready to go ahead and push in. hopefully with the help here of KO, but as that clove smoke dissipates, everybody's trying to retract, try to listen and see if there's any movement, waiting for Util to use Trace using in that Sova drone. They know that they're there in mid, but they're not quite sure how to execute it coming in from there.
Yeah, I don't think Carrots wanted to challenge that operator that she may have had some suspicion is posted up on that B-long site. Instead, A site's going to be favored for the moment. No space has been taken on the site yet, but Savani, Davy Jones are in position to do a full-fledged site execute when the IGL calls for that play call. Right now, they're facing it with a clove smoke, though, so they're keeping their options open in mid, but they don't look like they're budging from this A site.
I mean, even with this Vise holding down A site, everybody is so patient at the moment. I mean, we already have so much util going on right now, all the Astro smokes and everything. Trace is starting to plant spike as Savani is starting to slowly, clear out site as much as she can. She might run into this Vise, gets a pick on that Vise. Hopefully, with all of this util being thrown out, it's anybody's game, but with this Astro Wall happening, it's a little hard to see and figure out and hear where all of Champlain's going to be coming from. Davy Jones gets that pick on that Jet finally, but unfortunately gets traded off by that Reyna. And Reyna gets another pick on Carrots as Soap finishes out, but gets a kill on that tail.
Oh, and Soap throwing down mollies to further just give the Terps a little bit more insurance as the Clove has to wait for those mollies to dissipate as the spike is ticking down. Time not looking like it's gonna go in Champlain's favor, although the kill does on Soap. The round will go to the Terps, and that is a great round to have after a timeout.
That was a very, very close round. My goodness, I feel like if we didn't end up using that Astro Wall, that could have ended much differently. I mean, thank goodness Davy Jones was able to get that kill on that Jet, because once that Jet gets a handle of that operator, it's almost game over. But now, I mean, doesn't mean that the Jet just can't buy another op. I mean, but now, actually, I lied. They have a save round going on here. They are a bunch of Devo Demons themselves, but it looks like Champlain's gonna go very aggro here on B site now that they don't have much guns. The Terps are starting to run away. Now that they're going on to A site, wow, it looks like it's almost a full push onto A site, but they're still trying to play it smart here, especially now that they know that the Vise is hanging out on A site.
Yeah, so the Vice did switch up where their wall was positioned. That's not going to stop Savani as she's dashing onto this site and does get killed by a crazy shot. Oh my gosh, Soap might have the play of the century, but no, she kind of whiffs, just narrowly missing. And that is going to have to force her to hide and just kind of regroup with her team some other way while the rest of her team has made their way comfortably onto this A site. They've got to clear out Dugout. Looks like Tracy's going to be the one to do so. 3v3 in the post plant. That's not going to be a post plant anytime soon, as it does look like the Terps are full-fledged rotating to B site. And what a good play call, because look how Champlain is just miles away right now.
I mean, now Champlain has guns that they've picked up, considering that they started off with just light shield and like Tico's going on. I mean, this Jet is gonna play B long here, and hopefully this is gonna be a really close round here. I'm kind of holding my breath at the moment. So that Soap is just trying to make sure nobody goes down mid. Along, so is Carrot trying to make sure nobody goes down through mid, but Carrot's gonna unfortunately see through with that Jet. Jet gets that pick, but Soap gets 2 more picks, getting that Reyna and that tail going on here.
And now Soap and Trace just have to work together to find one more pick, but it is a harder task than it sounds. And Trace left in a 1v1 and does get killed, but I think she's just wasted enough time in order to secure this round.
Thank goodness Trace did end up getting that Jet tagged with that util there. I mean, Jet was already 5 HP, and it still could have been anybody's game. And nonetheless, a win is a win. We're already 3 rounds up right now. We're 6 as Champlain's already at 3. Again, I'm still holding my breath from all these rounds. It's a very, very close game still. Again, we won't know what happens right when that Jet starts to pick up that op yet again. That might be another weakness for the Terps to go against. So what can Champlain do differently now that their money is a little bit, isn't as much as they wanted it to be?
And this is exactly when you want to see the Terps start to build a lead just to give themselves some insurance. So when the half does switch and they have to figure out how to work out this defense, they have some time to figure it out. But for now, they're still on the defense. That Vice Wall once again positioned into A main with the effort of stopping Savani there. Meanwhile, the rest of the Terps just really spread out all over the place right now, kind of neglecting Spike for the moment, just trying to get a pick. I think Trace did spot eyes on that Reyna, just gonna swing with confidence and finds that pick on the Reyna. What a great way to start out this round for the Terps, as they are gonna reconvene and probably meet up with Savani here, who's already burned a good amount of Vice utility, but has not really taken space here, where the Vice and the Clove are just waiting.
No, the Vice and the Clove being together here on A, they've been doing pretty well. I mean, the Clove might end up moving into dugout, but with this KO ult that we had get thrown out, who knows how it's gonna go. I mean, they're still hanging out on A there. Savani is ready to just jump in. She jumps in, gets that KO made out, gets blinded. Savani gets a pick on that Clove. Thank goodness, as Soap is starting to plant that Spike, we're just trying to make sure that nobody gets on site here at the moment. As Savani gets a pick on that, or Savani gets picked off by Vise, and Vise gets another pick on Davy Jones, trying to wallbang with such low HP.
Oh my goodness, Trace good for 3 this round, and that's what it mattered most, because that post plant looked a little shaky for a moment there as the numbers were dwindling. But no, Trace is there to respond, to just even give the Terps more security. And like I've said all series, this is a game of runs. The Terps are the ones going on a run this time, but if you look at the scoreboard, it's just looked how it's looked all series. It's not back and forth by any means, and it's never been so far tonight.
Things are starting to look up for the Terps. I mean, we're 3-7, but here goes this Reyna rushing in with this judge, doing a play that Savani did before. I mean, thank goodness Savani isn't going down through A, but is going down through mid doors instead. But this Clove knows that she's there. Hasn't gotten the kill on that Clove yet, because the Clove has been, you know, shut down with these smokes. So we're just waiting as Trace is here, making sure that the Clove doesn't peek out of that smoke. But we're having a good lead moving towards B site, but this Vise is yet again back on B site. Either way, wherever this Vise is placed, they do a really good job of trying to hold it down here. This Reyna, because they have the judge, had to switch to class to get Davy Jones, but Davy Jones gets the Reyna, but gets picked off by the Jet, traded off. The Clove is just hanging on onto B Heaven here as the Terps have bomb planted down. You should run.
Yeah, bomb does get planted. KG ultimate invested for the Terps. They have their eyes on flank, which is a good thing for Soap, as she's able to stop that flank before it gets any more dangerous than it needs to be. And a lot of time has been bought for the Terps with that KG ultimate, not detaining anybody, forcing Champlain to vacate the premises. And that Clove finds a really good opening pick for Champlain into Halls on Savani, but the job isn't done. They've pushed through in front of the smoke. Will the Terps be expecting this? Carrots and Soap certainly are, as they're just waiting for those picks to go their way to further increase this lead.
It's looking good lately. It's already the last round before switch, and I mean, it's going great. I'm so glad that Reyna wasn't able to get any judge kills that round. I mean, that Reyna was just running it down through A, already had made it through mid, but thank goodness Davy Jones was able to get a pick off of them. I mean, even still, they were traded off, and it still ended up working in our favor. But now that we're finally starting to, you know, realize what our strengths are and how Champlain is starting to play off, it's starting to look up for us.
And the scoreboard's looking up for us, but also our economy. We have a bit of a cushion now. Champlain in a buy round. So it's going to be an expensive round for them. They're probably going to use their ultimates sooner rather than later, as we are about to switch halves here. This is the last round, and so that's why Savani uses her jet knives off rip and fast rotate towards B long off the bat. But there's going to be Vice utility here. We've gotten really unlucky running into that Vice utility seemingly round after round, but it hasn't been an issue so far. Hopefully it won't be an issue again.
I mean, Trace was protected by Savani throwing in that smoke, and Trace is getting 2 picks off here on that Clove and the Vise, but unfortunately the Clove goes back to life and gets Savani. Davy Jones getting that pick, and Trace also getting a pick here. Trace is already having 3 kills so far as the Terps are starting to plant down that spike. It's a numbers game. I mean, we've seen this Reyna be able to play very aggro, and either way, Reyna has that judge again, picks up on Bulldog and is ulted, meaning that all the you know, the fire rate is going to be much faster, especially as she's ulted. She takes out that turret, but I'm not quite sure if they know that there's also mollies hidden there on that spike. And they do, and as they try to bait out that diffuse, it's going to have the Terps come out of their shell and gets that kill onto that Reyna, and we win that half. Or, I mean, we're already 3-9 here. I mean, hopefully there's no 9-3 curse.
Yeah, I mean, it was 9-3 the other way on Haven, but so hopefully the Terps just are able to continue with the lead that they've been able to build for themselves as they transition to the other side of the map. And this is looking good. You know, you don't want to be in the other position. You don't want to be in Champlain's position. We also just want to say we have a quick tech pause so the suspense will build before we head into the second half.
I mean, I'm scared. So scared to see how this goes out.
Yeah, and the Terps, you know, would be more scared probably if the scoreline wasn't how it's looking, but they just have to have full confidence, you know, in the ability that they've been able to have in their weapons, in their aim, in their utility. And you know, Davy Jones has had a great game, and she has some just really impressive stats that we highlighted in the beginning of the game already. She does have the highest ACS of her whole team, so that is just an accomplishment in itself. She's not even the duelist player, you know, she's a flex, but she just is able to fill in wherever the team needs her.
I mean, and that's really fortunate for the Terps, especially having a flex player be so high up. Having that much of an ACS is a really good thing, because, I mean, that's the point of having a flex. You're supposed to be able to flex around, move around between roles, and be able to support your team either way, no matter what position you're playing. So thankfully, Davy Jones was just doing great overall on this map. And I mean, I also want to highlight Carrots from last map. Again, that ace, crazy, beautiful ace. And even though we may have not won that map, our Terps still did a pretty good job, you know, on our leaderboard, getting on as much kills as they could. And with that, hopefully we can bring that onto Pearl here, just ultimately finishing off the game for us. So fingers crossed.
Yes, it's just 4 more rounds that the Terps need here to win the semifinals and head into the grand finals in their NECC division, which is a huge accomplishment. But the job is not done. They have to win those 4 more rounds, and potentially more if we head into overtime, but
yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
It's looking pretty good so far. I mean, after that tech pause, most definitely, which was needed, it was very needed by Coach Dusty there. And, you know, the Terps were able to figure out, like, what went well, what went wrong, and just starting to work together more so, you know. I mean, we always have Zavani trying to push onto site, and then we always have Archeo just ready to throw in that blind, and we're already there to have, you know, all of that util supplement her, trying to get those kills or trying to get as far back onto site to clear it out for everybody else to enter site. So hopefully Champlain doesn't see that strat coming, but with that, we never know how Champlain is going to go once that Jet holds onto that op, or even if that Vise just holds down either site as well as they do.
But what's been really working for the Terps is not even allowing that Jet to purchase the op. Like you said, the one time the op did get purchased so far, the Terps were able to take care of it quickly because they hit the opposite site. I think Carrots probably caught to the rest of her team that an operator was there, and they just hit a site instead, and they were able to just completely avoid the issue of the operator at all. And since then, what is going on? Since then, that Jet has not been able to repurchase that operator, and that is the key to keeping that operator out of the game. But there's some witchcraft going on from the Terps.
I mean, summoning our inner Terp here. I mean, once Davy Jones starts getting out of their shell, I mean, maybe we're just manifesting something here. I mean, I'm here for it.
What is going on? The Astra stars are like also in a try. It's like weirdly like evil looking. I don't know why, but and why Davy Jones? Why is Davy Jones in the middle? I don't know. We'll never quite know. Maybe it's just like a top tier strategy that I am not familiar with, but
I think the Terps are just putting us on. I mean, GCP, man.
Not the spooky music. This is so ominous. What is happening? Oh my goodness.
Champlain, better watch out.
Halloween came early this year. While we are in the tech pause. See, it's good to see the Terps are still lighthearted. You know, it's a very tense situation, but if you can laugh, you can just have fun. that's half the battle.
Matters. Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, on this tech pause, I think we're just finally getting a little bit of a breather. I think that's most definitely deserved for both sides. I mean, trying to just recollect ourselves and figure out what's working and what isn't. And I mean, with this spooky music, I think the vibes are great in the studio at the moment. I'm jamming out to it. I'm pretty sure like Davy Jones is about to get like sucked into a vortex or something, into an Astra Star maybe, who knows, but hopefully channeling our inner champions here for today. So
yeah, the music is taking me back to our Halloween streams, but enough of reminiscing for now. We're going to be heading into the game and out of the tech pause shortly to see how map number 3 will conclude now that the teams have swapped sides.
I mean, we're pretty good across our board here, both from Champlain and from the Terps, 14, 13, 12, 8, and 4. And similarly on Champlain's side, 13, 11, 7, 6, and 3. I mean, it's gonna look pretty scary here. We have the we have Champlain starting to push up A with only Soap just hanging on to A with her util here. I mean, gets spotted by the turret. I'm sure Soap is already calming to her teammates that it's gonna be an A push here. This Jet is ready to dash in the same way Savani did and is getting hit with all this util as Soap is just hanging out in the back, getting that pick on that Reyna here.
Great job from Soap, but it's not enough to stop this plant. But a lot of HP damage has been done. That's going to really make a difference, especially in the pistol round, as Carrots perfectly showcases that with her ghost abilities. Oh my goodness, she is so good on that gun. But the job is not finished. There's 2 more players who stand in the way of the Terps, and another round would make that 1 as Trace able to find the pick on the Tejo. And now it's just the Vice who's going to get scanned by Tracy and later killed by Tracy as well. And what a great pistol round.
None of the Terps fell that round. I mean, we did have somebody just a little low on HP, but also what a great execution overall. I mean, I don't know if, you know, Champlain is quite good at attacking when it comes to, you know, on this map, but it looks like they're a little unsure of how to get in. But I know that their Jet has a few tricks up their sleeves with the way that they entry that way, but it was just a little unfortunate with all that util there. But I mean, now we know that we're good to go on A site, and A site is just simply just held down with no issues.
Hey, maybe that little circle they did worked out, because whatever witchcraft that was, they won the round, and hopefully they will do the same for the next 3. But it's a rocky start as there is a trade from Davy Jones, although Savani's able to respond, and now they're just getting overwhelmed here in Art. It's going to force Savani and Trace to back up into some safety and some cover here, just kind of give up a lot of space.
I mean, now Champlain's already basically into A site almost. I mean, Soap is just hanging out here in the back, just detonating all of her util. But the Reyna's starting to push back into Garden closer. It's gonna meet up with Trace, but we'll see how this goes. Unfortunately, Trace does get picked off by that Reyna, and Soap is still hanging out here, but is expecting for a push coming back into CT as Savani is approaching slowly from Art, but is getting held by Vise and Jet on Champlain's side here. They're fully expecting her to come here, but once the Soap dissipates, it's over. Carrots does get a crazy pick with that Outlaw on that Reyna, but unfortunately, Savani did get picked off by that Jet and Vise together. It's a 3v2 here. I mean, Soap is trying to do as much as she can to stick that plant as he's getting sprayed out. Unfortunately, does not win, and you know, Champlain gets that round. I mean, but a crazy round. We were kind of confined there in a way, especially with those smokes happening. You know, with Savani just hanging out in Art, but was unfortunately watched by 2 people. You know, it wasn't looking so good, but this isn't a setback at all, and this is still most definitely very much winnable.
Yeah, and it's still, although the Terps did not win the last round, they still have a really good cushion, which is the whole point of heading into the next half with a lead. Is you could take more time to figure out how you want to work out your defense. You can make a couple of mistakes, and it is not the end of the day, whereas Champlain has to be nearly perfect from here on out. Davy Jones going to swing out and does get killed thanks to that stinger, although Savani there consistently there to find that trade. Picks up a Vandal too, which is huge to be in her hands, especially as the Terps have really found themselves in not a good position to stop this B hit that's happening, and instead they have to regroup towards mid and already kind of set themselves up for a retake.
Yeah, I mean, Champlain's just hanging out in B already and is already planting. You know, as the Terps are all slowly moving up towards mid here, I'm hoping that they can get as much information as they can before they all just get switched to, you know, pushed together. But unfortunately, you know, Savani being all the way in the back is gonna hopefully help out the Terps in getting a spot, at least one pick on Champlain here. Trey starts to push up, but unfortunately they all get picked off, leaving Savani here on C long, but also gets picked off with that outlaw that lies there.
All right, Champlain is responding. You know, they still have a pretty sizable lead to overcome, but they're inching their way back with 2 round wins in a row. And that's going to give them, you know, more of a bye to work off of. But this is the round that the Terps are looking to stop them. This is a full bye for the Terps. So losing this round would have just huge implications for the rounds to follow in terms of like economy, ultimate status, which are, you know, charging up there, especially for Carrots and the Jet for the side of Champlain.
I mean, hopefully this puts an end to it, even though we are 5-10 with 5 rounds being, you know, able to cushion us. This can be anybody's game. They're starting to go mid quite a lot now, and this Teo is using that bot to, you know, try and get as much information as they can, but they do end up catching our KO here. Davy Jones is starting to move back onto A site. Meanwhile, we have Savani and Trace just pushed up a little bit here on A. Hopefully that they can double tag this, you know, this clone hanging out here.
And it is going to be a 2v1 fight on this Clove. No one quite dying yet. Instead, it's Davy Jones who's able to get that first opening pick onto A site to actually down Spike, although she does end up getting killed in return. And just a mix-up of all sorts of different positions here. The double swing does pay off in the end, but it does cost Savani's a life. Soap getting a kill does level things out a little bit, but still, things have been looking really kind of just sloppy from both sides. Heading into this round, with Champlain finally does find their footing here onto this A site. They're able to get bombed down, and now Soap just has to kind of wait for the rest of her team. She does swing out to make herself known, but it's kind of a risky play.
Unfortunately, it most definitely was a risky play with Champlain's Jet getting that kill, but they don't quite know where to. The Terps are heading out now. Karis is just hanging out here in Art, ready to throw in those Astro Stars to kind of throw off Champlain just a little bit. Hopefully, they don't go in through that smoke they have going on. Karis just, you know, teases the defuse here as their Jet just starts to throw in that ult. And thankfully, we do end up winning that round. A sigh of relief for us here as Terps. You know, very close round there going on, but I was kind of worried there that they wouldn't rotate in time to help out Soap, you know, just hanging out in CT for a little bit, but it was worth it in the end.
Yeah, and, you know, that round did look a little bit scary, but winning that round is huge. That was a bye round. They did lose 3 of their 5 guns that they purchased, which does hurt a little bit, but, you know, they got a Carrot's ultimate online, which I said in the previous round was kind of charging up there, and we're kind of seeing this pattern of once the Terps, like, take care of that Jet on the other side, things seem to fall into place a little bit more easily.
Yeah, I mean, again, we only have 2 more rounds on the Terps end here, but this is anybody's game, especially now that the Terps have lost a little bit more money. We have 3 of them, 3 of Champlain's players going in through A there, gets caught by that turret. Soap already knows and is probably already calming to her teammates that, you know, it might be an A push here, but it's still slowly waiting for some movement here. Davy Jones might make contact, but Savani does instead, getting that Reyna out, which is a great start, but can they both get this Jet out while they're at it? But they thankfully don't make any contact, but it's still too close now that they know that Teo's there with that Jet. Jet's starting to push out as Davy Jones is trying to throw in that flash, and Savani gets that pick on that Jet, thankfully.
Yes, Savani 2 for herself this round to start things off, but Champlain does still have bomb control, and they do have A control as well, despite the Terps being really bunched up into Art. They kind of neglected this bomb site, and it does look like they're going to pay for it because that is where the plant is seemingly in order, as Trace does get picked, holding down Art still, and yeah, the plant going to come down, and now the Terps find themselves on the wrong side of a smoke and a spike to defuse.
I mean, Carrots is starting to push up through CT here, trying to see, you know, who's holding in. Hopefully Carrots can make a good look here, hiding in sewers. I'm really scared. This Clove is just ready to peek out, and unfortunately Carrots does get picked off. This Clove is holding on to make sure that nobody gets past through CT here, but Davy Jones is so close to getting this kill on this Teo, and then so is Soap. Soap is gonna start making contact with that Clove, but not quite yet. Unfortunately, the Clove finishes it off, and they do get picked off of both Davy Jones here, but Savani only has just barely any time to defuse, and does finish it off with that Clove, getting 4 kills that round.
Yeah, great round for that Clove, and you know, the Terps still, you hate to see them like lose these rounds and kind of draw things out, but the reality of it is they're at 11 round wins. So it would have to be just a sweep from Champlain right now, which is possible, but you gotta just have faith in the Terps, especially given their ultimate status, but not their guns. They're forced into deagles here across the board.
Hopefully we can thrifty Champlain here. I mean, again, like you said, we still have a good amount of cushion, but that could only last for so long, so we really have to play our cards right here. Savani automatically popping out that ult here, and it looks like she's slowly gonna start, you know, playing flank. I mean, Champlain's playing default here with the spike down. Once Savani sees that that spike's down, it might be over for Champlain, because all they have to do is just make sure that that spike doesn't move.
Yeah, a little bit of contact being made up in art like we've seen the last couple of rounds. Carrots just trying to duck and hide behind that box, but there's 2 people who are just kind of waiting to double swing in. Davy Jones, though, is going to help out as she's peeking up into mid there and is going to be happy with that 1 kill, backs up to try and just preserve her life as she's going to need it with Savani at such low HP.
Savani's super low, but I mean, the Terps are also very spaced out here. I'm sure that Trace knows that this Clove is just hanging out, just waiting for either one of them to peek. Davy Jones gets a pick on that Reyna while they weren't looking, and Trace is about to just peek out and see all these people, but unfortunately gets picked off from Clove here, just hanging out a little bit in art. Hopefully this Clove doesn't run into Davy Jones, but they will run. Well, actually, I'm scared. Davy Jones does get picked off by Vice, unfortunately, and so here, the Deagle Demon hopefully, you know, can get as much as she can to get some damage onto the rest of Champlain's team.
Last player standing.
Insane play there by, you know, Soap getting that Deagle kill, but unfortunately gets traded off because Savani is now down. They're both hanging out there in art, both of Champlain's, but unfortunately that Clove is just popping off from round to round, getting that pick on our Terps.
And you could just see a little bit of disappointment in Soap's face. Just, you know, although it was kind of an unfavorable round for her to win, the disappointment I think really comes from just not being able to close this out yet. It's being drawn out. It's, you know, as Champlain is winning these rounds, things get more and more high stakes. You can make less and less mistakes there. But man, look at these ultimates that are up. Just almost everybody on each side has them. So that is going to have to be something that both teams are on the lookout for.
I mean, the buy is looking a little better here. That Teo does get blinded off, and, you know, Davy Jones now knows that the Teo's hanging out here, but here goes Carrots, and the Reyna just, you know, jump spotting one another, you know. They're kind of just messing around to see who's going to break first, and, you know, Champlain is still trying to go in through A, but we do have a hold on A with all this KJ util that Soap was able to throw out, and it's still quiet here. We're waiting for some movement to be set out. You know, Clove is trying to bait out a little bit of Soap's util, but Soap only detonates just 1 bomb to prevent them from coming in, but we lost it at the cost of an alarm bot here.
A lot of utility being dumped in mid so far. No kills netted on either side quite yet. However, looks like there's a little bit of progress being made on this A site. But like despite all this mid presence going on, it looks like that is going to be where Champlain is ending, and trade comes through from either side to start off this A execute. And Soap right now is kind of holding on to her positioning in that backside. You have some cage utility to work with. However, it's going to be a difficult retake. They're knowing that the Terps are going to use this KG ultimate, try and help them out. What a shot from Soap there. But the Clove ultimate is used. She's facing another 1v1, wins it for the 2nd time, and is waiting for that KG ultimate to tick down while the rest of her team, including Savani, is finding picks for themselves.
It's looking good. We have good numbers here. We have a 4v2 happening. You know, I mean, Soap is starting to get that diffuse going on as Teo is just hanging out there in A. You know, Trace has to push up and get that pick. Unfortunately, does not. It gets picked off instead. But it's so close. My goodness. We did get bomb half, thankfully. And we were able to secure that round. Just one more round for the Terps, and we will be sent off into finals. My goodness. Lots of smiles.
Yeah, Soap. Oh my gosh. Really just carried the whole team that round, it felt like. With the ultimate, the winning the Clove ultimate, the, you know, winning that last crucial 1v1, get backing like on bomb, just insane round for Soap there, and a lot to celebrate for the Terps, as there is going to be a timeout in order as the Terps are knocking on the door for the grand finals.
I think Champlain's starting to crumble just a little bit. Coach Dusty seems a little more expressive than the last time, you know, a coach timeout was called. I mean, we're just so close, just one more round here for the Terps, and we are just sent off. And, you know, I think, like, Champlain is starting to pick up and get a little bit more intimidated now that Coach Dusty was able to get our Terps through, you know, what we could do better, and the Terps most definitely did better.
And they've just had a really dominant last couple of rounds, despite, you know, losing some here and there. The overall trend has been that they have been in the driver's seat, and hopefully nothing is going to change here now that we are at series point. Although Coach Dusty does look stressed, but, you know, there's no room for error. Like, you don't want to potentially sell this. You don't want to sell your position here like into grand finals. And man, look at this leaderboard. Soap having a phenomenal game.
It's going great. I mean, so is their Jet and that Clove. That Clove was having pretty good rounds the last few rounds here. I mean, it looks like we're starting to play a little slow. You know, Champlain's trying to just get as much, you know, as much evidence as they can here. And, you know, they're already caught by that turret. You know, that turret should have been expected there on Champlain's site, considering that's where Soap usually puts that turret.
Davy Jones going to use some utility, gets a read on that Clove, and that's going to kind of set off the alarm bells towards mid, because that is where Champlain has favored. Peek comes through, but no lives taken quite yet, as it looks like the rest of the attack is going to kind of slowly trickle towards this B site for the first time in what feels like a while, as Carrots is there just waiting with an idling gun, trying to get some value off of it. Does spot one or two backs up as a result. Meanwhile, Soap getting a pick onto that A site there to hopefully make things sway in the Terps' favor here.
I mean, they're already just, Champlain's all up on B site here, you know. All the Terps have to do is play a really good retake, but I think that they're at a good position here, especially with this KO ult that we had detonated. I mean, Davy Jones is ready to get some kills, throwing in all that util. Most definitely she knows that there's people hiding in a hall, because it's pretty obvious, but gets downed, unfortunately. But we do have pretty okay numbers so far. Unfortunately, nope, I lied. KO does have to get revived here by Carrots. Hopefully Carrots can get that revive as much as she can, or either get a pick on that Jet, because it's one or another. But unfortunately Davy Jones does not last for that revive here.
Carrots has two players to deal with, both of which are positioned into long but different angles, which makes things really difficult. But Carrots found one piece of the puzzle, is hunting for the second, but the bomb is ticking down beyond repair, so it doesn't matter regardless. But still, the Terps losing that round by a very close margin and are still in a good position to look at closing out this series.
That was a really hard decision to make. I mean, it was either get Davy Jones back up on her feet after getting down in her ult, or is to just go ahead and get those two picks there. I mean, either way, I mean, we're still pretty good here. I mean, again, we have cushion. We're just 8-12 right now. One more round is all it takes, but with all this buy right now, with our buy and our econ, it's not looking so hot. So it might have to cost us one more round, but let's not speak too soon just yet.
Defense is mainly stacked up towards mid, because that's where we've been seeing Champlain favor. You know, they've been kind of inching in through art when they have been doing their executes. This time did not look like that was their game plan, but whatever their game plan was, which it looked like was mid, is not going to work out thanks to that Astra smoke. So actually looks like it is going to be a regroup towards mid in the end, and I wouldn't be surprised if we even saw a full scale rotate towards B, considering it worked out for them in the last round.
It's moving very slowly now. Everybody is just trying to make sure that they can win their fights and don't peek out just quite yet. I mean, it looks like this Reyna is going to get caught by 3 different Terps here. But, I mean, the Reyna already calmed. And now they know that there's 3 people, or maybe just even, you know, there's people hanging out on A now, leaving Champlain to just go ahead and commit to B. And B's not quite watched as much as it should be. You know, we have her playing back just a little bit, but Champlain's just slow walking onto site, so we wouldn't really know if they're on site or not unless Carrot starts to peek out just a bit.
And now site execute is in order here, and they found themselves a lot of space to work with, but Carrots with the Sheriff has other plans. They're finding a pick and backing up to wait for some reinforcements, but still the Terps with only not great guns in hand. This is a tall task ahead of them.
Thank goodness somebody was able to smoke herself, but unfortunately does get picked off by that Reyna. Hopefully this is still very much winnable. We are even when it comes to numbers with their vibes being very low. Unfortunately, the Reyna does end up getting 3 picks, and it might be 4 here. Hopefully not. Thank goodness Soap was able to get that pick off. All the Terps have to do is just diffuse, stick that diffuse while we have Soap maybe trying to distract, but unfortunately not. But she does get that kill. But bomb is already just going to detonate, unfortunately, as this Tejo is just messing around with Soap here and gets a pick on Soap.
Close. You can just kind of see Soap really wanted that kill, and rightfully so, because man, like, it's with every round, I keep saying it, but it gets closer, it gets scarier. You know, you just need one more round for the Terps, one more round. Last round was not a bye round for them, so kind of like you mentioned in the earlier round, it's no surprise that it was a difficult round for them any way you slice it. But coming into this round, hopefully they're going to buy more. They're going to be more prepared. They're going to just really have that fire underneath of them saying, we need one more round. We have Vandals. We have full shields. Let's do it right here, right now to go into the grand finals.
This Clove starts, keeps looking up, and I'm pretty sure that they're expecting, some Sovadart to, land to get all of their, info that they're hanging out in A. But, Davy Jones throwing in that knife now that they know that there's 2 people just hanging out in mid there, and Champlain's just starting to, listen for noise, jump spot, and just see where everybody's at for the Terps.
Yeah, very slow round compared to what we've seen in the past. The attack is positioned kind of more towards this A side, which is where UMD is stacked for the most part. So that is kind of maybe a good thing for us. But it does look like regardless, it is going to be a very, very slow push. A little bit of utility starting to be invested here onto this A side. Reyna blind is in order, so the smokes do come down. Savani gets a pick, though, and that is a great way to start off this round with Savani getting 2, holding down this A side, is hunting for a 3rd after the smoke dissipates. So is Trace, who they're basically holding hands in back sight here, as Savani is the one who's going to be able to find that 3rd and eventually does get killed. But Trace is still kicking here in the back side, and the Terps are on the brink of getting sent into the grand finals, and it will be the Terps who come away with the win, and they're able to do what no other UMD Valorant team has done this season, and that is make it to a grand finals. What a match.
What a match that was. I mean, even if they played against Champlain before, gameplay is still unexpected. Love to see it.
Yeah, it was a great series. The Terps had to fight for it. The first map seemed easy, but the second one and the third especially, it was really just neck and neck there for a lot of that game, and the Terps have got to celebrate this one and then prepare for next week. And we also just have to thank our sponsors right before we end up the stream. We have to thank Playwire. We also have to thank Union on Knox. And, of course, the Philip Merrill College of Journalism. None of this would be possible without them. And Recwell, who Esports is housed under.
Oh, other way.
Other way. Well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And start looking out on the horizon for grand finals next week. We'll see you guys next time.